Chapter 1391. That red-faced soldier walked towards Luofeng, smiling and communicating. "He, you think that just because you changed your appearance and messy hair, we won't recognize you? No matter how you change, your divine power aura will never change. As long as we get closer to you, we'll recognize you immediately." Luofeng's gaze swept. "It shouldn't just be you. The captain and the others have already arrived, they're scattered around." The red-faced soldier communicated. "Your strength, we've seen it all at the edge of the true god battlefield, to be able to easily escape from so many true gods. I don't have the confidence to deal with you alone." Hua, 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 hua. In the distance, within the chaotic Xian Yushan army, 10 silhouettes were approaching. Luofeng's gaze swept. One of them was the captain with the huge curved horn. The rest of them were the soldiers under the captain's command. "Recruit He, you're much stronger than we expected. Your strength is really not bad. We're willing to accept you as one of us." The soldiers transmitted their voices to one another. Even the captain looked at Luofeng, communicating, "Recruit He." "Captain." Luofeng looked at this captain. When he had just entered the Python River army, this captain didn't think much of him as a recruit, however at this time he was smiling warmly. "We didn't accept you before because normal recruits are very weak, and your strength has already gained our recognition." The captain said directly, "You just have to give up your true god corpse and share it with us. Then in our little team, the other soldiers will all trust you. I'm willing to give up my captain position and let you take over." "Right, we're willing to accept you as the captain. As long as He helps us, let us live too." He. The soldiers all looked expectantly at Luofeng. The captain too looked expectantly at him, almost selfless, willing to give up his captain position. Luofeng's gaze swept. "Really? Of course. We'll immediately accept you as the captain." The soldiers communicated. Luofeng smiled. His smile was cold, communicating, "However, your life and death, what does it have to do with me?" Immediately, everyone was stunned. All the soldiers were stunned. "Didn't you guys not care about the recruits before?" laughed Luofeng. "How come you're talking about friendship now?" He had long seen through everything. What captain? What friendship? It was all a joke. The cruel selection process of the army caused batch after batch of soldiers to fall. These old soldiers were used to seeing other soldiers fall, and each of them only wanted to live and become a true god. Who would care about the empty position of captain? This group of soldiers was under the command of their captain because their captain was strong. If it was for the sake of survival, these soldiers would probably immediately abandon their captain. The faces of the 18 soldiers, including the captain, were all ugly. They didn't think that Luofeng would be so ignorant of the situation. He, the captain of the curved horn squad, sent angrily. "Right now there are 50 true gods trying to capture you. They've guessed that you're definitely in one of the many overlords of Xuanyu Mountain. The battlefields of the overlords of Xuanyu Mountain are split into many areas, and many of them have true gods spying on you from afar in search of you. High up in the sky not far from us, there is a true god spying on us." Luofeng looked up at the distant sky. A strange beast true god was indeed looking at this huge battlefield from afar. "I know," Luofeng communicated. "However, it's so far away, it can't recognize me. But we can tell it," the captain communicated. "We only need to exchange glances with it and it will immediately notice us. Our mouths will move and from the shape of our mouths, it will know what we're talking about." "Ah," Luofeng laughed. "The moment you're discovered, that true god only needs to give an order and he'll immediately order the large amounts of 9 smoke swamps overlords to surround you. When that happens, you'll have nowhere to run." The captain stared at Luofeng. "You'll definitely fall. Choose, do you choose to give a large portion of the true god corpses to us, and safely bring a few back to camp? Or do you die here with nothing? Choose." Enhe, our chances of surviving this mission are extremely low. If you force us, then we'll die together. Even if we die, we'll drag you down with us. The soldiers all stared at Luo Feng. Luo Feng shook his head. Then you can all go and die. I'll bring the 35 true god corpses back to camp. Following which he turned and roared, "Kill the 9 smoke swamp bastards!" He immediately became a beam of light and rushed into the distance. Including the captain, the 18 soldiers were all shocked. They didn't expect that at this point, this recruit Enhe actually didn't fear anything. Unless this recruit Enhe really thought he alone could escape from the entire 9 smoke swamps encirclement? Even though they were shocked, their reactions were extremely fast. At the same time Luo Feng moved, the 18 of them moved too. You want us to die? Recruit, you can go and die too. Damn Enhe. Damn. You forced us. A few of the soldiers had malevolent expressions, their eyes filled with madness as they all charged over. However, Luo Feng, who was flying at high speed, laughed coldly. Rumble! Rumble! Annihilation's second scroll was fully unleashed. His speed rose to a terrifying level, swiftly shaking off these soldiers. Just you all want to chase me? Luo Feng didn't care at all. Enhe, don't even think of escaping. Out of all the soldiers in the back, the fastest to catch up was the captain of the Curved Horn Battalion. The captain originally thought that this recruit would have some misgivings, so he could use this as a pretext to force recruit Enhe. But reality was far from what he expected. Recruit Enhe actually didn't care and ran. The other soldiers hadn't seen Luo Feng go crazy before, but the captain had. He knew that if this recruit Enhe really went crazy, the other soldiers wouldn't be able to stop him at all. Chi, a pair of huge black wings swiftly appeared on the captain's back. The black wings had black ribbons at the sides. The huge black wings had a total of 100 black ribbons, swiftly enveloping over. No matter how fast Luo Feng's speed was, he couldn't match the speed of this weapon. Luo Feng only felt the sky and land darken. Looking back, he saw the huge black snake-like ribbons immediately enveloping him. Get lost! Luo Feng held a huge hammer in each hand. As he had been hiding his identity amongst the large group of law lords in Xianyu Mountain, and he didn't want to be discovered by the beasts watching from afar, hence he intentionally used the hammers to battle. The 2 hammers each moved in an arc. The surging and burning divine power caused the power of the 2 hammers to be astonishing. They swept the surrounding black ribbons back a little, but even so, with this delay, a large number of black ribbons had already formed a huge black ball, completely enveloping him. It's extremely resilient, extremely powerful. Luo Feng felt the power of the ribbons through the hammers. He couldn't help but be shocked. This captain didn't even use any techniques, just the black ribbons enveloping him has such power, it doesn't make sense. To be strong, one would usually have to rely on secret arts and so on. Just the ribbons enveloping him was already so powerful? Don't tell me it's a mechanical treasure? Luo Feng immediately deduced, if I want to break through, I'll have to use the Blood Shadow Blade, and I'll have to use my strongest blade technique to have any hope. However, if I really continue fighting, I don't know how much time I'll waste. I'm afraid I'll really be discovered by the beast god in the end. The moment the leader and recruit Enhe exchanged blows, even though it made the surrounding warriors suspicious, they were just suspicious and nothing more. After all, from the outside, it looked like the leader's attack was just like a spirit weapons restriction. They were only suspicious, even though they had grudges in the past. Why were they fighting now? Was it because of the spoils of war? The captain's black cloud wings are really powerful. The black cloud wings' flying speed is extremely fast, the restraints are strong, it's extremely good for protecting oneself, it's an absolute treasure for escaping. The other soldiers were incomparably envious. At this time, rumble! The large amount of black ribbons enveloping the black ball suddenly began to fly with terrifying speed into the distance. One part of the black ball actually protruded. almost as though there was a monster within the ball formed by the black ribbons, flying at an extremely high speed, forcefully pulling the black ball along with it. Cheek. The black ribbons gradually separated, revealing an ancient battleship's bow. This ancient battleship's surface was wrapped with black ribbons. These ribbons were heavily binding the ancient battleship. However, the ancient battleship's speed continued to explode, almost as though it wasn't affected at all. Flying at an extremely high speed. Its speed continued to rise. What? The captain turned pale with fright. Such a strong flying ability. The captain used his black cloud wings, trying his best to control the ancient battleship. However, the ancient battleship was too strong, it couldn't be shaken at all, instead dragging the captain along at an extremely high speed. Captain, didn't you want to bring me to see the true God? Then let's go. The ancient battleship brought the captain, directly flying into the sky. The tomb ship's propulsion was extremely strong. Once it exploded, how could the Universe Lord stop it? Who? The battleship's speed was extremely fast, continuously flying into the sky, and at the outermost area of the battlefield, there was a beast god circling in the sky. Stop. The captain raged. Are you looking to die? Haha, let's go see the true god together, let's see who dies. The ancient battleship continued to fly at high speed, flying towards the beast god. The captain finally panicked. One had to know. He too had stolen a true god's body. Even though the 9 Mist Swamp's true gods really wanted to capture Luofeng, with Luofeng hiding within the battleship and not releasing his energy, the beast god wouldn't be able to confirm Luofeng's identity. Instead, he would first confirm that the captain was the first to steal the true god's body. When that time comes, he definitely wouldn't let the captain escape. You sure are ruthless. The captain raged, however he could only give up. The black ribbons that were wrapped around the ancient battleship swiftly loosened, the captain too swiftly separated from the ship. There's that automaton blade, there's actually this automaton battleship? The ship's propulsion is so strong, even my black cloud wings can't hold it. The captain floated in mid-air, watching the ancient battleship swiftly fly into the distance, entering the swamp grass. He was filled with unwillingness within. I didn't know you had an automaton battleship. That's why I let you escape. You can escape once, I don't believe you can escape again. The captain gritted his teeth. After a while, within the 9 Mist Swamp's army of tens of thousands of beasts, large amounts of beasts roared and roared, rushing toward Xian Yu Mountain's army. Kill Xian Yu Mountain's trash. A huge lizard-like winged golden-horned beast roared, within the 9 Mist Swamp army, rushing toward Xian Yu Mountain's army. Today's 3 a.m. is over. Preview. Tomorrow's 4 a.m. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1392. The Golden Horned Beast was mixed in with the overlord army of the 9 Smoke Swamp. As a different race from humans, the Golden Horned Beast's aura was naturally different. Even if the true gods were in front of the Golden Horned Beast, they wouldn't be able to recognize. This Golden Horned Beast was Luofeng from before. In the Gene world, there was no such thing as a clone. No one would have thought of it. High up in the sky of the 9 Smoke Swamp, the 6 void true gods of Xian Yushan and the 9 Smoke Swamp were all watching below. He actually escaped like that. This soldier actually brought a beast overlord with him. This time, be it his previous teammates or the 50 true gods of the 9 Smoke Swamp, they won't be able to find him. He will definitely be able to leave the 9 Smoke Swamp safely. One by one, the void true gods commented. 9 Smoke also looked below and sighed softly. To have 2 mechanical treasures, especially that battleship, even though it should be a true god-level mechanical treasure, its power is extremely strong. It's the best among true god-level machines. He's just an overlord, logically speaking. He shouldn't be able to exchange for such a good mechanical treasure. However, he has it. Looks like he's highly regarded in the army. These 6 void true gods knew everything that happened below. However, they didn't expect that the genius soldier and the golden-horned beast were actually the bodies of the same strong warrior. The void true gods controlled the entire battlefield and understood everything. However, they wouldn't interfere and didn't dare to interfere. No one dared to challenge the unwritten rules of the Gene world. As time passed, a month passed. The entire battle was nearing its end. How can we not find him? Within Xian Yushan's army, the captain was furious and unwilling. Even though the 9-Smoke Swamp is vast, there are only a few battlefields where overlords gather. This recruit has nowhere else to run. After such a long time, we actually didn't find him even once? Captain, we really can't find him. We've searched everywhere. We can't find him. One by one, the soldiers replied through their communication tokens. However, the captain was unwilling to give up. The other soldiers didn't know, but he personally saw Luo Feng kill the beast true god. He was very clear of the recruit's terrifying potential. He originally planned to befriend him, but after getting jealous of the huge amount of military merits, he decided to act. It was fine that he failed the last time, but he did not expect this recruit to have a mechanical warship. But now, 6 months had passed, and they had not found recruit Yin he even once. It's impossible that we can't find him. He's in these places. Search, search. If you don't want to die, hurry up and search. The hope of completing the military mission rests on him. The captain was anxious. Even if he didn't say it, those soldiers would do their best. I don't believe it. The captain was really anxious. We can only tell them the news. You Luo, Kufa, let me tell you a piece of news. A few months ago, the true god who was in charge of collecting the corpses of the 9-Smoke Swamp's true gods died. His corpse was snatched by Recruit Inhe. Recruit Inhe has more than 30 real god corpses, and he is hiding in the 9-Smoke Swamp. The leader sent the information to a large number of soldiers under his command. Other than Luo Feng, all the other soldiers received the news. What? Impossible! That recruit will be able to obtain more than 30 real god corpses? How could he have escaped alive? The soldiers replied one by one. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. The news is as such. I've been searching for him for a long time. It's just that he's too good at hiding. The captain couldn't be bothered to say more. He believed that, under the threat of the military mission, the other soldiers would also do their best to search for Luo Feng. With so many soldiers searching, the chances of finding him would greatly increase. Humph. The captain thought, with this recruit Inhe's strength, Luo, Kufa, there's no chance of success. The most they can do is help me find him. In his heart, he didn't even put Luo or Kufa in his eyes. Luo and the other beast soldiers were mixed within the 9-Smoke Swamp's side. After so long, we've collected over 20,000 weapons and armors. Only 2 of us can complete the mission. And from the looks of it, the battle between Xian Yu Mountain and 9-Smoke Swamp has already begun to weaken. I estimate it won't be long before it ends. No matter if that recruit Inhe has a true god corpse or not, we have to search for him. Luo roared. Search. Search for recruit Inhe. Each and every beast soldier's eyes gleamed with madness. That was madness before death. Kufa and the other soldiers were mixed within Xian Yu Mountain's side. We've collected over 30,000 weapons and armors. However, this is far from enough. Without the battle, it's impossible for us to gather another 10,000 weapons and armors. Search for recruit Inhe. Even though Kufa was humble in the face of death, he would still grab onto this last straw. Within the 9-Smoke Swamp's army, Wuhe received the captain's message. Over 30 true god corpses, Inhe? Wuhe was shocked. His heart was filled with disbelief. He didn't believe it, he didn't want to believe it. I've collected so many points, but I'm still a long way from 10,000. He alone obtained so many true god corpses? Wuha didn't want to believe it. However, from the captain's message, he had a feeling that this was probably true. Otherwise, no matter how good the captain's imagination was, he wouldn't have thought of such a joke. Regret. Wuha's heart was filled with regret. If I had been with him back then, he would have obtained 30 true god corpses. I don't need much, just give me 5 or 6. Wuha was anxious, regretful, and unwilling. All the soldiers from the Mang River Army that accepted the mission to the Nine Smoke Swamp were searching for recruit In He's location. However, no matter how they searched, they couldn't find anything. It was almost as though recruit In He had already left the Nine Smoke Swamp. All of them are searching for me? Golden Horn Luofeng had already seen the silhouettes of the distant soldiers within the beast army. He had even seen Wuha twice. Continue searching. No matter how you search, you won't find him. Golden Horn Luofeng was entrenched within the swamp. Half his body was submerged in the water. As both sides had been fighting for a long time, both sides had suffered heavy losses. At this point, naturally, both sides had begun to control themselves and weren't too willing to continue the crazy slaughter. Many beasts and tribal soldiers had already retreated. In he, I'm Wuha. Golden Horn Luofeng smiled. Finally, a soldier had contacted him. Oh, Wuha? Luofeng replied. How is it, have you gathered enough points? No, 10,000 points is very hard to gather. Wuha replied. In he, I've just received news that the captain, Kufa and Yuluo are currently searching for you. They want to obtain a true god's body from you. And they've also treated me as a new recruit and considered me to be with you. I've been rejected by them too. Is that so? Luofeng replied. In he, we too entered the Mang River Army together. We're all new recruits. I'm lacking quite a bit now. I'm not asking for much. Can you give me a true god's body to help me out? I'll definitely use treasures to exchange for it. I'm willing to use the true god armor my father gave me to exchange with you. Wuha was filled with anticipation. From Wuha's point of view, he and Luofeng were both new recruit. Moreover, he could use the true god armor to exchange for it. It shouldn't be too hard. Exchange? Luofeng mocked. You want me to exchange with you in the Nine Smoke Swamp? Wuha immediately understood. At this time, recruit In he definitely wouldn't reveal his location. Naturally, he wouldn't come out to exchange with him. Return to the camp. We'll exchange after we return. Wuha communicated. You're quite smart. Luofeng thought to himself. This Wuha had been collecting weapons and armor for such a long time. Moreover, he was the son of the Northern True Sea Master. He probably had some good stuff. We'll exchange after we return to the camp. When the time comes, you'll have to take out enough treasures. Without enough, that won't do. Definitely. Wuha let out a sigh of relief. He was afraid In he wouldn't care about him anymore. Luofeng had already thought it through. Looking at the benefits that the 10,000 soldiers had obtained from the armament point, he would naturally be able to squeeze out more from Wuha when the time came. To him, it was just 10,000 points. It was just icing on the cake. However, to Wuha, it was a life-saver. If the army wanted to kill him, even his father, the Northern True Sea Master, wouldn't dare stop them. Wuha first contacted him. A few days later, Kufa too contacted him. However, Wuha knew what to do. Kufa and his group of soldiers didn't have many treasures to begin with. They couldn't withstand Luofeng's pressure. Don't treat me like an idiot. Trading with you outside the camp? Haha, then you can all wait to die. After Luofeng finished speaking, he didn't care about any more messages from Kufa. It was charity after all. Only with his charity would the other party have the right to live. Since they dared to negotiate with him, they should just die. This war lasted for over a year. Following the appearance of the 6 Void True Gods, Xianyu Mountain's army quickly retreated. Rumble, the Nine Smoke Swamp, which was originally isolated by the Void, returned to normal. Let's go. The majestic Xianyu Mountains army broke through the sky and left. A few soldiers from the Python River Army, who were disguised as tribal soldiers, swiftly retreated to the borders of the Nine Smoke Swamp. We haven't gathered enough points yet. Kufa, Yuluo and the captain looked at the swiftly retreating Xianyu Mountains army. They were all unwilling to give up. With the army retreating, they no longer had the chance to take advantage of the chaos. It would be tough from now on. Snatch! Captain and Kufa's group must have gathered quite a bit of points. We'll snatch it. We'll have a chance to live. Yuluo brought a group of beast soldiers under him, filled with killing intent. To snatch points. Kufa roared. If we want to live, we have to snatch. The captain said to the group of soldiers under him. The three groups of soldiers all chose to fight. Only by fighting, the strong survive. Only then will they be able to gather enough points. If the three groups split up, they would probably kill each other internally. At the borders of the vast Nine Smoke Swamp, a golden-horned beast and 3 other beast overlords were chatting in the air. These were all good friends the golden-horned beast made during the war. After a while, they split up. Time to return to camp. Golden Horn Luo Feng turned to look at the endless mist that enveloped the Nine Smoke Swamp. He couldn't be bothered with the outcome of the slaughter of the other Python River soldiers. At least, he was returning with a huge amount of contribution points. So, at the borders, with a teleportation, the golden-horned beast disappeared from the Nine Smoke Swamp. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1393. After leaving the Nine Smoke Swamp, Luo Feng headed straight for the Eastern Army camp. Other than him, Wuha also quietly left the Nine Smoke Swamp. As for the 3 batches of soldiers that accepted the mission, the captain, Kufa and Yu Luo were still in the vicinity of the swamp. Only the captain had acquired a true god corp. The other soldiers, including Kufa and Yu Luo, didn't have enough points and were all thinking of other ways. Kill each other? Continue hunting? Reap the rewards? Anyway, they would naturally give it their all. However, it was destined that this disaster-level mission would cause many of them to fall. I've finally arrived. Rumble. A silhouette appeared in mid-air. It was Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the endless army camp in the distance and revealed a smile. At the same time, he looked down and saw the long queue of tribal warriors and beasts coming to join the army. So, Luo Feng flew straight into the camp. Just as Luo Feng entered the Eastern Army camp. Outside the Eastern Army camp, there was a space distortion. There were large amounts of wormholes. These were all created by absolute warriors. Shwa, 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 shwa. Almost at every moment, there were soldiers flying out from different wormholes. Let's go, this mission is considered simple. If we finish it quickly, we'll have another era of leisure time. Let's go. Sigh, the next time we'll be doing a reincarnation level mission. I don't know how many of our team will survive. Let's hope we can earn more points this time and get more treasures from the armory to survive the reincarnation level mission. Batches of soldiers, some relaxed, some serious, some worried, all left. The Eastern Army was too big. There were soldiers leaving at any moment, and amongst the departing soldiers, there was a seemingly ordinary overlord of the laws standing on the branch of an ancient, thick tree far off in the distance. I've received orders from the ancestor to join the army. Even though I have missions to do, I've never gone. I've been waiting here. It's been so long and I've never even seen the Milky Way leader. The gray-armored soldier was anxious within. At the same time he was observing. The Milky Way leader is powerful, but so what? Even if he surpasses Samsara, it will only give our cosmic sea another sacred land. They pose no threat to the Purple Moon holy grounds. The gray-armored soldier was puzzled. Once a holy land is formed, it will exist forever. My Purple Moon sacred land doesn't fear any experts. I don't know why the primogenitor values the Milky Way overlord so much. Even in this realm of Gene, he ordered us to immediately find traces of the Milky Way overlord. The gray-armored soldier sighed in his heart. He didn't understand. He was confused, but this was the primogenitor's order, so he didn't dare to disobey. The vast cosmic sea was mysterious and unpredictable. One of the two Saint Land cosmoses, the Purple Moon Saint Land cosmos. Still haven't found any traces of Luo Feng? The Purple Moon primogenitor was angry and unhappy. The two kneeling figures were extremely respectful and nervous. Primogenitor, when we saw the ship enter the realm of Gene, we followed it in. Based on the position it entered from, it's most likely in the Eastern Army. Ever since I joined the Eastern Army, I've been keeping an eye on the many wormhole exits, but I haven't found any Galactic Lord yet. We really haven't discovered anything. Primogenitor, could it be that Milky Way overlord Luo Feng hasn't joined the army yet? The two universe lords knelt. He has the inheritance of the East Duan River. Even in the realm of Gene, it'll be easy for him to make a name for himself. The Purple Moon primogenitor looked down at the two universe lords and said coldly, "The two of you not only have to keep an eye on the wormhole exits, but also gather information. The moment he becomes famous, it'll be easy for you to find him." Yes. Yes. The two masters of the universe replied respectfully. Primogenitor, our army's mission. The universe lord with 2 faces and 4 arms couldn't help but say. The two of you will take turns. One will watch over the patrol, the other will complete the army's mission. Once the mission is completed, return to the camp to continue investigating, and the other will complete the mission. The Purple Moon primogenitor said coldly, "This is the first wave. Very few people from the Purple Moon sacred land will enter the realm of Gene. When the next era arrives, many universe lords will go over. When that time comes, it'll be easy for you." Yes. The two universe lords also looked forward to the next era. Go. The Purple Moon primogenitor waved his hand. The two universe lords immediately retreated respectfully. The Purple Moon primogenitor's face was blurry. Only his eyes were filled with a sense of femininity, yet filled with endless killing intent. "I originally thought I wouldn't be able to kill you. Who would have thought the Gene world would appear? In the Gene world, there are too many who can kill you. Luo Feng, don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for receiving the Duan Dong River inheritance." Virtual Universe. At the peak of Thunder Island, Luo Feng and the Primal Chaos City leader met. Luo Feng. Teacher. The teacher and disciple sat down. "I've just completed a disaster-level mission and gained quite a bit of merit." Luo Feng said, "Completing this mission means that at least for a very, very long period of time, I'll be safe. I'll try my best to understand the mysteries of the Gene world." You're the first of our human race to enter." The Primal Chaos City leader nodded. "Your responsibility is the heaviest too. Right now in the entire universe C, be it the Primal Universe, other reincarnation eras, the 2 Sacred Lands universe, all the warriors have their eyes on the Gene world. After all, the information gained from the Gene world as the first batch to enter is simply too enticing." Luo Feng nodded. This was a matter of course. In the universe C, many warriors yearned to transcend the reincarnation cycle, yearning for an ultimate treasure. However, in the Gene world, there were many void true gods. Obviously, there was an extremely complete training method to break through from true god to void true god. And the so-called ultimate treasures were even the army's true god's standard weapons and armors. There were simply too many of them, even many mysterious mechanical treasures existed. A chance to transcend the reincarnation cycle? Ultimate treasures? Mechanical treasures? The enticement was huge, causing all the powers in the Universe C to lose interest in the other 3 danger zones. They were all incredibly excited as they stared at the Gene world. It was just that they only had the chance to enter in every epoch. Before, the primal universe's laws contacted me through the ancestor god. Luo Feng smiled. Obviously, I'm currently doing the best in the gene world. I'll naturally make use of this advantage. Also, I've gained quite a bit of merit this time. Maybe I'll bring back some ultimate treasures. Once the epoch is over and I can leave, I'll send them back. The primal Chaos City leader was overjoyed as he heard. The gene world was the most important battlefield. All the powers would compete. But the primal universe's human territory was the true foundation of humanity. Only by expanding the territory and increasing the number of geniuses would the human race be able to match up to the other two sacred lands, maybe even surpassing them. Teacher, I'll head to the military base first, Luo Feng said. In the military base, you can use merit to exchange for inheritances and treasures. I believe, through the military base, I should be able to discover more secrets of the gene world. After understanding the military base, I'll tell teacher everything. Go, the primal Chaos City leader said. However, remember, don't take risks. The gene world is much more dangerous than our universe C. Luo Feng nodded. Even though he was exploring the gene world, Luo Feng still frequently communicated with his teacher. He also kept abreast of the happenings in the Universe C. Right now the Universe C could be said to be calm and peaceful. Obviously everyone was watching the gene world. Eastern Army Camp, Mang River Army Camp. Luo Feng and Wuha arrived at the camp one after the other. Milky Way, Milky Way. Wuha eagerly flew behind Luo Feng, the wings on his neck constantly flapping. I've prepared all the treasures, just give me one. Prepared? Luo Feng looked at him. Don't rush, I'll head to the military base first. When I'm back, we'll have a good talk. Wuha was unwilling, because once Luo Feng went to the military base, he would be very clear on the value of the treasures. He would probably be ruthlessly squeezed out of him. However, no matter how unwilling Wuha was, he didn't dare argue with Luo Feng. He could only shake his ugly face and smile beside. All right, we'll talk when you're back from the military base. He, don't leave nothing behind. What he was most worried about was this recruit He. If he exchanged all the true god corpses for merit, he would be dumbfounded. That would be equivalent to giving him a death sentence. Relax. Luo Feng nodded. So, Luo Feng immediately left the camp, his mood extremely happy as he headed towards the military base. The Mang River Army's camp by the lake was quite far from the main hall. However, Luo Feng felt like he was enjoying the scenery along the way. His mood was extremely good. Just like that, he finally arrived at the military base. Military base. Luo Feng looked up at the majestic ancient hall. According to the rules, before and after accepting a mission, one has the right to exchange for treasures at the military base. However, the moment one accepts a mission, before completing it, one cannot enter. Luo Feng muttered softly to himself about the rules and entered the majestic ancient hall. The moment he entered, immediately space and time changed, almost as though he had entered another world. What secret technique is this? Luo Feng was shocked. In front of him was a vast and boundless world. There were many soldiers scattered everywhere, and every soldier had a golden silhouette in front of them. Even more mysterious than the virtual universe, Luo Feng was shocked within. So, a golden silhouette condensed in mid-air and descended before Luo Feng. Luo Feng carefully looked at the golden silhouette before him. However, he couldn't even see its face clearly. This silhouette was completely enveloped in golden light. Mang River Soldier, you have a mission to complete. You cannot come to the military base to exchange for anything. The golden silhouette looked at Luo Feng. My mission has already been completed. Luo Feng waved his hand and immediately a huge beast true god corpse appeared beside him. This was a huge corpse that was close to 1 million kilometers long. Its sudden appearance even shocked the distant soldiers. One had to know that almost all the soldiers within the military base were Origin Law Lord. The second chapter has arrived. There will be 4 chapters today. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1394. Close to 1,000,000 km long body landed on the ground, causing the ground to shake. The body's tail almost touched a soldier not too far away. The surrounding soldiers all turned to look, especially after seeing the beast god's body. They were all shocked. The golden silhouette's eyes shot out a golden light, enveloping the beast god's body, after which he nodded. It's indeed the 9 Smoke Swamp's true god, mission complete, 10,000 points. Luo Feng was shocked as he heard this. Just one check and he was able to confirm it was the 9 Smoke Swamps? Looks like the army's control over the entire Gene world was shockingly strong. State your request. The golden silhouette looked at Luo Feng. You can use this 10,000 points to exchange for weapons, machinery, inheritances, etc. If you have other treasures, you can give them to the army to exchange for points. This is the list. The moment the golden silhouette finished speaking, a huge screen appeared before Luo Feng. On it was a large detailed list. Luo Feng's gaze swept across. I want to understand the basic information of the levels above the true god. Luo Feng said. Basic information? The golden silhouette said. There are only 3 pieces of information that explain the basic information, according to the level of detail and the level of secrecy. To read them would require 100 points, 500 points and 3,000 points respectively. Luo Feng was shocked. Just the basic information, which was not a cultivation guide, actually required so much military merit. The disaster grade mission only required 10,000 military merit. With the corpse of a mutated beast true god, it would be easy for him to extract 1 or 2 supreme treasures from Wuha. Perhaps he could extract even more. However, he really wanted to understand more. I need the highest level, Luo Feng said directly. 3,000 points deducted. The golden silhouette said, Mang River Soldier, you have 7,000 points left, and you can only read this secret information from here. What? A large amount of words immediately appeared on the screen before Luo Feng. This screen was something only Luo Feng could see, the other soldiers at the armory couldn't. Actually, the same logic, Luo Feng couldn't see the details of the other soldiers' trades at the armory too. Read from here? Luo Feng muttered, his gaze sweeping across as he carefully read. The words were extremely small. The screen was huge, just one screen alone had over 100 million words. Luo Feng immersed himself in it. According to the description of the basic information, according to their abilities, they could be categorized into those below immortal realm, law honorable, universe honorable, law master, universe master, real god, void real god and eternal real god. When the living beings of the Gene realm are born, they are below the undying rank. Normally, once they reached adulthood, they would become undying. Some geniuses became undying within a few years of birth. Undying, law sovereigns, law lords, all of them were divine bodies. Their energy and life imprints fused into one. Depleting divine power was the same as depleting one's life imprint. Some races had souls, some like the stone lifeforms were the cores of other lifeforms, but in summary, they all had life imprints. The more life seals he lost, the greater the impact on his strength. If he lost 50% of his god body, he would lose 90% of his power. This was the shortcoming of a divine body. Once he became a true god. Just like a baby, it returned to its original life. If it was a flesh and blood life form, it would still be a flesh and blood life form. If it was a metal life form, it would still be a metal life form. Example: flesh and blood life forms. Flesh and blood life forms, their flesh and bones were unable to contain the imprint of life. Just like domain lords and sector lords, their souls and bodies were separated. And after becoming a true god, they would return to being a flesh and blood life form. Their souls and bodies would still be separated again. The energy of a true god was the body. With a powerful body, Every bit of the body could be burned and turned into powerful energy to be used in battle. And the soul of a true God was hidden in the heart of a true God. True God, void real God, and eternal real God all had the heart of a true God. The heart of a true God, although it was called a heart, it was actually a secret space within a true God's body. In this secret space there was the soul of a true God. At the same time, this secret space was connected to the small universe outside. No matter how far away the true God was from his small universe, through this connection, the energy absorbed by the small universe could be quickly transferred to the heart of a true God to replenish the energy consumed in battle. Killing a true God, there were 3 ways. The first way was to completely destroy a true God's body, physically destroying the secret space, and the true God would naturally fall. The second way was to attack the soul, directly destroying the true God's soul, and the true God would naturally die. The third way, which was also the most common, was to attack more than what a true God could withstand. The strong impact would continuously cause the secret space within the true God's body, which was also the heart of a true God, to break and even collapse. Once the heart of a true God collapsed, the true God would naturally die. It was like an ordinary person wearing armor being hit in the chest by a hammer. Perhaps the ordinary person would not be injured on the surface, but the impact would shatter his heart. It was the same logic. Hence, the stronger the body, the weaker the impact on the heart of a true God would be. If the body could withstand all the impact, the heart of a true God would not be affected, and it would naturally be fine. Flesh and blood lifeforms, rock lifeforms, plant lifeforms, and so on. All of them were the same. After becoming a true God, the body and soul, life core, would naturally be separated. Hence, no matter how much energy a true God consumed, it would not have much effect on his abilities. This was because the divine power that a true God burned did not contain a soul. A true God had a small universe. However, this small universe was born from the evolution of a holy kingdom and not created by the true God through comprehension. Next, a true God needed to comprehend the evolution and birth of the universe. Until true control of the void. With one thought, the void would be formed. At this moment, he was a void real God. The void real God continued to improve and comprehend more. Until one day his understanding of the evolution of the entire universe reached an extreme. He could even create a small universe in an instant. With one thought, the universe would be formed. At this moment, he was an eternal true God. With one thought, the universe would be formed into a small universe. This was different from Luo Feng's talent secret technique, I am the universe. Luo Feng's talent secret technique was too simple. As for the small universe that an eternal true God created in an instant, it was purely because he did not have enough energy to create a large universe. He could only create a small universe as a battlefield. For example, with one thought, the surrounding 10,000 light-years would enter a small universe. The eternal true God was the master of this small universe. Other than its small size, everything else was no different from a real universe. Its power was so great, it was enough for an eternal true God to have the absolute power to defeat a void real God. True God, void real God, eternal true God. It was a process of continuously deepening the control of the universe's evolution. At the later stage, he could create a small universe with one thought. In the entire realm of Jin, there were 4 eternal true gods. They were the generals of the East, West, North, and South armies. They ruled over the entire realm of Jin and had a supreme position. If another void real God broke through and became an eternal true God, then, the eternal true God could leave the realm of Jin to fight for the divine king. Like other soldiers, they could only leave after being summoned by the divine king. But an eternal true God could leave on his own. Luo Feng sighed to himself. Leave on his own? If the divine king was still alive, it would be fine if the eternal true gods under him came out to fight for him. But looking at that huge humanoid creature lying in the cosmic sea, I'm afraid that the Divine King has already fallen. The Divine King has fallen. According to the original will of the universe, all living beings in the realm of Jin will die if they leave the realm of Jin. I'm afraid that even if some powerful beings were born and became eternal true gods, they would be annihilated as soon as they left the realm of Jin. Luo Feng sighed and then continued to watch with anticipation. In the realm of Jin, a void real god was an overlord. An eternal real god was an absolutely high and mighty existence. Under His Majesty the Divine King, he was also a great subject with an extremely high status. However, even if they were all true gods, void real gods or eternal true gods, there would still be differences. For example, the extremely important small-sized universe. When a true god becomes a true god, the god nation becomes a small-sized universe. At this moment, the internal structure of the small-sized universe is extremely important. When a true god becomes a true god, the small-sized universe's diameter is 100 million light-years. But once a void real god becomes a void real god, the difference becomes obvious. Because of the difference in the early structure, when a void real god becomes a small-sized universe, some will become 1.8 billion light-years in diameter, some will become 2.5 billion light-years in diameter, and some will become 5 billion light-years in diameter. Completely different. Among them, a void real god's small-sized universe has a diameter of 1 billion light-years and a diameter of 10 billion light-years. Luo Feng was shocked. Among the two sacred grounds, the Purple Moon's sacred ground's small-sized universe has a diameter of 2.1 billion light-years, while the East Emperor's sacred ground's small-sized universe has a diameter of 3.2 billion light-years. From the diameter of the sacred ground's universe, East Emperor ancestor, Purple Moon ancestor, they were both void real gods. Continue to look. Luo Feng looked very carefully. The small-sized universe is the foundation. A small-sized universe can absorb energy from the outside world and transform it into divine energy without life imprints for the strong to absorb. And every time a strong breaks through, whether it's a true god to a void real god or a void real god to an eternal true god, the small-sized universe has to transform for the entire breakthrough to be successful. So, when the strong dies, the small-sized universe will naturally collapse. But if the small-sized universe is attacked and destroyed, the strong can still live and absorb energy from the outside world to replenish themselves, but they can no longer break through. No matter how high their comprehension is, it's useless. However, the small-sized universe is very stable and hard to destroy. To destroy a true god's small-sized universe, an extreme void real god must use all his strength to do it. To destroy a void real god's small-sized universe, an extreme existence among the eternal true gods must be able to do it. To destroy an eternal true god's small-sized universe, there are no records. However, all the small-sized universes of the Jin world were arranged by His Majesty the Divine King to be in the core of the Jin world. No strong warriors can reach there, so there's no danger. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1395. The Three Stages of Real God, Void Real God and Eternal Real God. The difficulty of each stage kept on increasing. This could be seen just from the number of eternal true gods in the Jin world. Strictly speaking, becoming a true god was split into the God Force route and the Origin Law route. The Origin Law route was the easiest and most common. However, if one chose the God Force route, it would be difficult. And once one chose the God Force route, even if one succeeded, according to the genetic hierarchy, there were 3 levels. Especially the third level reaching 90,000 times Jin, that was simply a legend. It could be said to become a true god through the God Force route, reaching 90,000 times life force. The difficulty was so high that it was comparable to becoming an eternal true God. Any true God that could reach 90,000 times life force could easily become a void true God. Even becoming an eternal true God wouldn't be too difficult. Luo Feng finished reading in one go and frowned. The God Force route was very difficult. The God Force route reaching 90,000 times was even more difficult. Can I reach 90,000 times life force before this era ends? Even Luo Feng wasn't confident. No matter what, I'll try my best. Before this era ends, even if I can't reach 90,000 times, no matter how many life force I reach, I'll immediately break through to become a true God. Luo Feng finished reading and said, I want to see some inheritances. Sure. The golden silhouette said, This is the list of inheritances. What? The screen changed. The words from before all disappeared and became a huge detailed list of inheritances. It was split into treasures, machines, close combat, etc. 5,000 merit points, 10,000 merit points, 100,000 merit points. TSK, these 100,000 merit points can only be exchanged by special soldiers? Luo Feng looked at them one by one and was shocked. The inheritances required were indeed expensive. Some special inheritances couldn't be exchanged for by normal soldiers. So expensive. The second level of the God Force ignition technique can be used by an overlord? It requires 1 million merit points? Luo Feng was shocked. He didn't expect the Gene world to have such a high-level God Force ignition technique. It was about the same as the first 2 volumes of Annihilation. Looking at the list of inheritances, Luo Feng was shocked at the price of merit points. I want to see the weapons and armors, Luo Feng said. Yes, the golden figure replied, and the list on the light screen changed again. At this moment, behind each name on the screen was a picture of a weapon or armor, as well as the required military merits and authority. Luo Feng's gaze swept. True God-level battle armor. Roughly 10,000 military merit. True God-level weapons are of different levels. The lowest can be exchanged for with 2,000 military merits, while the highest can be exchanged for with 1 million military merit. A true God-grade warship requires at least 50,000 contribution points. Luo Feng looked one by one. It was clear that Palace-type Supreme Treasures were the most expensive, followed by Soul-type Supreme Treasures. Even the cheapest one would cost at least 30,000 military merits, followed by Domain-type, Armor-type, and finally Attack-type. Of course, each category had its own special characteristic. The highest attack-type weapon cost 1 million military merit. Even the most powerful palaces required at least 1 million military merit. My 300,000 points can be exchanged for quite a few absolute treasures. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. The prices of the absolute treasures weren't that high. He looked at legacies, weapons, armors, and even some travel notes of the realm of Gene. It took him an entire day. The golden silhouette standing before Luo Feng didn't seem impatient at all. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, emphasizing, I want to see the mechanical treasures. Coming to the realm of Gene, there were 3 main goals. One was to gather enough materials from a true god's corpse to help him become a true god, the second was to investigate the secrets of the realm of Gene, and the third was to find a suitable and powerful mechanical treasure. He had the Wu killer wings and the tomb boat. One for support, the other for flight and escape. Right now he needed a main offensive weapon. This is the list. The golden silhouette's screen changed again. The list on the screen was very sparse. There were only a few tens of them. However, these tens were all true God-level machines. Obviously, the higher-level mechanical treasures weren't shown at all. It was probably because he wasn't strong enough. 86 types? Luo Feng looked carefully. As there were very few types, every single one of them had a picture and a simple introduction. Black cloud wings. Luo Feng's gaze quickly landed on one of the mechanical treasures. Black cloud wings. True God-level machine, normal, requires 150,000 military merits to exchange. Python River soldiers have the authority to exchange. Strong points: good at escaping, extremely strong defense, good at binding and trapping enemies. Weak points: weak attack power. This black cloud wings, back in the Nine Smoke Swamp, the captain used this black cloud wings to deal with him. The binding power was indeed terrifying. He estimated that if he didn't use the tomb boat and used the blood shadow blade, he would probably have to use annihilation to break free. And this is just the normal level of a true god machine? Luo Feng sighed. With a glance. 100,000 military merits, 100,000 military merits, 120,000 military merits, 120,000 military merits, 130,000 military merits, 150,000 military merits, 300,000 military merits, 1 million military merits, 3 million military merits. The lower one went, the more military merits one would need to obtain a mechanical-type treasure. One had to know that even a true god-level weapon required 1 million military merits, much less a mechanical treasure. No matter how good it is, I can't afford it. So what? Luo Feng didn't bite off more than he could chew. He looked at the most expensive treasures at the bottom. Instead, he looked at the mechanical treasures that required 300,000 military merits, 350,000 military merit. Very quickly, he locked onto a target. It was a two-handed great blade, incomparably domineering and beautiful. Mist blade. True god-level machine, normal, requires 320,000 military merits to exchange. Mang River soldiers have the authority to exchange. Strong points. God energy is converted within the Mist Blade core, producing an extremely strong attack. Weak points. Consumes an extremely high amount of God energy. What I need is a strong attack, and I use a blade. Luo Feng was moved as he looked. It's only a true God-level machine, it's enough for me to use before I break free from rebirth. Once I do, this Mist Blade will seem low-end, I can leave it for the humans. Only, it's a little similar to the Blood Shadow Blade. Luo Feng continued looking down. Looking at the treasures one by one. The further down the mechanical treasures were, the more special and valuable they were. Luo Feng even saw a mechanical ship that was comparable to the tomb boat, and it even had the ability to attack. The last one. Luo Feng held his breath. The last one was also the most expensive true god-level machine. It was called Wu Qixin. Wu Qixin. True god-level machine, unique. This was personally created by the godly emperor, there's only one of it. Requires 30 million military merits to exchange. And only the conferred true gods or law lords have the authority to exchange for it. Warning: Mang River soldiers have no authority to exchange for it. Strong points. 1. Extremely strong defense. Wu Qixin was crafted from precious materials chosen by the godly emperor, even eternal true gods have no way of destroying it. 2. Extremely strong attack power, possessing unparalleled attack power. 3. Dodging extremely fast. The Wu Qixin's body structure was destined to be very agile. The Wu Qixin was a mechanical treasure that looked like a monkey. It had a streamlined body and an agile tail. Just by looking at the picture, one could feel the explosive power and movement speed of the Wu Qixin. Weak points. So strong, the amount of god energy required is shocking too. Normal true god bodies would be drained in an instant. Warning again. Ever since the Wu Qixin was created by the godly emperor, no warrior has ever had the right to exchange for it with military merits. Its strength is only a guess, there's no evidence to prove it. However, the godly emperor has condescended to create a true god-level machine. As long as the godly emperor makes a move, none of them will be bad. The exchange conditions were set by the godly emperor himself. Wu Qixin? Luo Feng's heart was itching. Luo Feng, who had a deep understanding of the ancient civilization, was very clear on the value of this Wu Qixin. This Wu Qixin was the pinnacle of a single body type. Like Wu Qixin's wings, it was also a single body type. It could only be controlled by a single warrior, however it was only a support type, and the Wu Qixin could be said to be perfect. Other than the god energy consumption being too high, it was absolutely perfect. 30 million points. Luo Feng roared within, when will I ever be able to gather so many points? Also, even if I have 30 million points, I don't have the right to buy it. I have to be a true god or an overlord to have the right to exchange for it. And ever since the godly emperor created it, no one has ever been able to exchange for it. Luo Feng shook his head and sighed. The history of the Jin world was ancient, even the godly emperor had disappeared for a very long time. From this one could deduce that the Wu Qixin had been created for a very long time. However, even with the selection of the strongest in the Jin world, no one had been able to acquire the Wu Qixin. One could see how difficult it was. Bestowed? Luo Feng frowned. What bestowed? I have to be a true god or an overlord to have the right to exchange for it. Luo Feng muttered within. Bestowed warriors seem to have a much higher status than the special forces. Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette before him. I want to know more about bestowing. It requires 500 points. The golden silhouette said. Even this requires 500 points? Even though Luo Feng wasn't satisfied, he obviously had no way to bargain. All right. Luo Feng could only nod. Hua. The light screen in front of him changed and turned into a detailed introduction. Bestowed, it was a warrior who was incomparably outstanding. Once he reached the pinnacle of excellence, he would have the right to be bestowed with the word Jin. This was an unparalleled honor. Every warrior who was bestowed with a title had an extremely high status. In the Jin world, the bestowed warriors were only bestowed with the 4 great generals, above all the void true gods. Bestowed with the word Jin? Luo Feng was stunned. The previous Duandong, he was bestowed with the word Wu. Jin. Wu, His Majesty the Godly Emperor? Luo Feng nodded within, continuing to watch. The conditions to be bestowed were extremely harsh, of course. Once one became a high and mighty eternal true god, they would immediately be bestowed with the title. As for void true gods, less than 1 in a million would be bestowed with the title. As for true gods? Ever since the mechanical treasure Wu Qixin was created, the entire Jin world has never had a true god bestowed with the title of Wu Qixin. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1396. Ever since Wu Qi was created by His Majesty the God King, no true god had ever conferred a title upon him. As for the even more difficult conferment of a Master of Laws, naturally, no one had ever succeeded. Things would be different once he became a titled warrior. First of all, his position was similar to that of the 4 great generals. Secondly, there were many other benefits. For example, Wu Qixin was a priceless treasure. However, it was difficult. The requirements were so harsh that it stopped countless geniuses in the realm of Jin. Even so, in every era, many geniuses from the Eastern Army, Western Army, Southern Army, and Northern Army would give it a try in order to be conferred a title. Luo Feng finished reading in one breath and frowned. Trying to get a title, don't tell me. Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette before him and said, To get a title, don't tell me there's such a mission? The golden figure said coldly, Yes. What mission? Luo Feng asked. He too wanted to give it a try. As for himself, Luo Feng was quite confident. He was after all the inheritor of the Duandong River. Officer of the Python River Army, you are a master of the laws. The golden figure said coldly. If you wish to be conferred a title, there are 2 paths. Luo Feng listened carefully. The first path. The golden figure said, there are 2 conditions. As long as you meet these 2 conditions, the 4 great generals will personally come to verify it. Once you meet them, you will be conferred a title. There are 2 conditions for the first path. 1. If you want to become a true god, you must walk the path of divine power, and your gene level must be 90,000 times. When you succeed, don't be in a hurry to break through to become a true god. Let the 4 great generals examine you first. Second, the Emperor Rhino game has a total of 10,081 games. As long as you can solve 10,081 games in one go, you will meet the requirement. If you meet these 2 conditions, you will immediately be conferred a title and have many privileges. Your status will also be higher than that of ordinary titled expert. He will have the same status as the 4 great generals. The golden figure finished speaking in one breath. Luo Feng's eyes widened as he listened. He was dumbfounded. He was stunned. This is too. Luo Feng didn't know what to say. Who set the conditions? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. His Majesty the Great Divine King personally made it, the golden figure said. Luo Feng could only suppress his dissatisfaction. This was crazy. The path of divine power was 90,000 times the gene level. Even in the ancient civilization, even with the help of many fortuitous encounters, it was still extremely difficult. Not to mention that in the realm of gene, all fortuitous encounters and treasures were controlled by the army. The soldiers couldn't have heaven-defying encounters. Even so, he still had to achieve a 90,000-fold vitality gene. Of course, he was already walking on this path, so this request was fine. Solving 10081 Emperor Rhino games in a row? His Majesty hasn't gone mad? Although there was no time limit, for a mere law master to solve all of the 10081 Empress Rhino games in one go was simply insane. Such a genius, not a single master of the laws had ever been able to accomplish such a feat. It could be said that if such a peerless character appeared, it would not be difficult for him to become the new godly king in the future. Both conditions are unimaginable. Luo Feng thought. To be able to fulfill these 2 conditions, even an eternal true god would be within reach. His future accomplishments would be limitless. It wouldn't be hard for him to stand at the pinnacle of the entire ancient civilization. Madman. His Majesty the Divine King really thinks that the true god-level machine he created, Wu Qi Shen, is so amazing. He dares to raise such conditions. Luo Feng shook his head. The ancient civilization was split into many powers. Gene was just one of them. The moment such an absolute genius was discovered, who wouldn't go crazy over him? Luo Feng shook his head and sighed. Didn't you say there were 2 paths? Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette. What about the second path? The great godly king knows the first path is too difficult. The golden silhouette said coldly, hence he left the second path. Any law master can apply for a titled mission. When the mission begins, they'll know the details of the mission and complete it. The moment they complete it, they'll be awarded a title. Titled mission? Luo Feng pondered. He understood the mission duration. Every era there would be an army mission, and in every era there would only be one mission. To accept another mission, one would have to wait for the next era to begin. What's the death rate of the titled missions? Luo Feng asked. Titled missions, every era will have soldiers applying for them. The golden silhouette said coldly, the Eastern, Western, Southern and Northern armies will all take on the titled missions together. The death rate of the titled missions is about 90%. The remaining 10% can barely survive. Till now, no one has ever completed a titled mission. Luo Feng was shocked. Titled mission endless years. Number of completions 0. 90% of the participants perished. 10% of the participants who survived were naturally failures. What's the content? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask curiously. Mang River Soldier, you just have to apply for the mission. You'll know when the next mission period ends. The golden silhouette said, Soldier, I'll give you an extra reminder. You've just joined the army, so you have to train yourself. The best you can do is a few reincarnation level missions. After that, it's not too late to take on the titled missions. Luo Feng nodded to indicate he understood. The vast lake was silent. A strange beast was hovering in midair, a pair of wings on its neck flapping from time to time. It was anxiously looking into the distance, waiting bitterly and anxiously. Why isn't he here yet? I've just gone to an armory, it's time to return. Don't ever exchange all the true god corpses for points. Inhi, oh Inhi, my life is in your hands. I have quite a number of treasures on me. I know that you want me to bring out my treasures to trade. I'll trade. Wuha floated in the air and muttered. He was very worried. Suddenly Wuha's eyes gleamed. In the distance a silhouette appeared. With just a teleportation, that silhouette swiftly reached the region. Inhi. The wings on Wuha's neck flapped fiercely. With a so, he flew over passionately. Luo Feng glanced at him and smiled. Don't rush, we'll talk when we get down. All right. Wuha replied obediently. Luo Feng rushed down and landed on the island. Wuha followed suit and landed. This island's layout is really good. Wuha looked around and exclaimed, everything is so natural. It looks simple, but upon closer inspection, there's a special charm to it. If I had to arrange it, I wouldn't be able to do it. Only you, Inhi, can casually arrange it with such charm. Even my father's arrangement isn't as good as yours. This was arranged by the soldiers from before. Luo Feng casually waved his hand. A stone chair in the distance flew over and landed in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng sat down and said casually, I'm lazy. Nothing has changed. Wuha was slightly stunned. After which he said, Right, Inhi, you're right. You should focus on training. The external environment isn't important. Strength is the most important. Luo Feng smiled and looked at Wuha. All right, stop flattering me. One look and I can tell you don't know how to flatter. Wuha was extremely embarrassed. He was the child of the Northern Pure Sea Master. Since young, he had never needed to flatter others. Naturally, he lacked experience. That portion, I'll leave it for you. Luo Feng looked at Wuha. You don't have to worry about that. Wuha let out a sigh of relief. However, whether or not it ends up in your hands will depend on your attitude. Luo Feng said directly, if you have any good treasures, take them out. Wuha was straightforward. Inhi, take a look. Hua. An armor covered in green scales appeared in the empty space beside. This is the true god armor I brought with me back then. It's even better than the Python River Army's armor. It looked at Luo Feng's expression. Luo Feng's eyelids drooped, as though he didn't care at all. Wuha wasn't surprised at all. He too knew that it wasn't possible to exchange for a true god corpse with just a true god armor. This is the true god level battleship I brought with me when I left Northern Pure Sea to join the army. Wuha took out the real deal. So, an ancient golden battleship landed beside. Luo Feng's gaze slightly glanced at it, before continuing to droop. Wuha saw Luo Feng like that and panicked. He reminded, This battleship is a true god-level battleship. Luo Feng still didn't seem interested. Actually, Luo Feng was quite happy within. As I expected, the child of the Northern Pure Sea Master, to be able to bring along a palace-type treasure to escape from, that's too normal. However, I still have to suppress it a little. Who knows, there might be some good stuff. In terms of military equipment, this battleship's lowest cost is at least 50,000 points. Looks like this deal is worth it. Aye. Wuha was there. Seeing Luo Feng not reacting, he too panicked. These are the large amounts of armor and weapons I collected from the Nine Smoke Swamp. They're all inside. Wuha threw out a bracelet from his claw. Luo Feng glanced at it, still not minding. Wuha was really panicking. Inhi, it's about time, right? Wuha's expression was bitter as he looked at Luo Feng. Only then did Luo Feng take a good look at it. This ugly and malevolent beast, that face covered in scales, was still as fierce as ever. Only its eyes were filled with pity. Not enough, Luo Feng said softly. Wuha looked pitifully at Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng didn't care. He didn't believe that Wuha would only bring so many treasures from such a huge power like the Northern True Ocean. Even if the Northern True Ocean Master was strict, he would only bring so few treasures. Then, he could let Wuha return to Northern Pure Sea to get more treasures. Anyway, there was still a long time until the end of the era. Wuha could make many trips to Northern Pure Sea. Northern Pure Sea was huge. If he didn't take advantage of them, Luo Feng would be letting himself down. Inhi. Wuha gritted his teeth and stared at Luo Feng. I did indeed bring a treasure when I came out. I can give it to you. However, you have to return this battleship to me. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. To dare say that, it was obvious the treasure Wuha had was even more valuable than the battleship. Take it out and let me see. Luo Feng's eyelids were no longer drooping. They were very bright as he stared unblinkingly at Wuha. Today's first chapter of the third chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1397. Wuha was stared at by Luo Feng. He gritted his teeth and finally took out the most important treasure he had brought with him when he joined the army. Looking at the treasure, Luo Feng immediately revealed a look of glee. After a while, the trade was completed. Inhi, I won't disturb you any further. Wuha immediately left after obtaining the true god body. All right. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. His attitude was very friendly. Wuha became a beam of light and with a teleportation, he left. Luo Feng couldn't help but shake his head and exclaim, indeed the son of the Northern True Ocean Master, he's not normal. This trade is worth it. This trade, Luo Feng gave up a true god body. And Wuha gave up a true god armor, large amounts of Origin Law Lord weapons and armors and a mechanical treasure. This mechanical treasure was called the Seven Sages Flying Armor. Its other aspects were average, its specialty was survival and escaping, it was extremely good at dodging and changing directions etc. To exchange for it at the armory, one had to pay 120,000 points. Of course, this Seven Swords Flying Armor could only be exchanged for 100,000 military merits when sent to the military base. One could see the dark side of the armory. 100,000 points could be used to compensate for one's mistakes and save one's life. Plus, not completing the mission wouldn't give him any points. In truth, Wuha received the true god body from Luo Feng and saved his life for another 10,000 points. That was equivalent to 110,000 points. Actually, Wuha was careless. He originally thought that with so many treasures on him, he would be able to complete the disaster level mission. However, after the mission began, he was dumbfounded. First was the Battle Royale. He only managed to get a portion of the point. After the Battle Royale, Wuha was very clear. Xian Yushan and Nine Smoke Swamp would definitely be extremely cautious after the final battle. To slowly kill a few thousand Origin Law Lords in the Nine Smoke Swamp area? That was simply a dream. As for the armor and weapons he got from the captain, Ku Fa and Yu Luo, he was just one person, the other three were a group. The moment he got mixed up, he would definitely be killed. The most important thing was, before completing the mission, there was no way to trade at the armory, and no way to exchange the Seven Sages' armor for points. Hence, he could only beg Luo Feng. After the trade with Wuha, Luo Feng had over 30 true god bodies on hand. He wasn't in a rush to exchange for treasures. Inhi, I beg you, help me this once. I will never forget this great favor. I'm willing to give you all my treasures in exchange for a true god's corpse. Inhi, as long as you help me, I'll only listen to your orders. If you want me to kill the captain, I'll do it. Inhi Luo Feng's communication card had always been in contact with his team's soldiers. They had never given up on getting a true god corpse from him, and now that he was in the army camp, no one could even think of killing him. They could only lower their heads and trade with him. In short, take out a treasure worth 100,000 military merits in exchange for the corpse of a true god beast. If you don't have a treasure worth 100,000 merit points, I don't care if you live or die. Luo Feng's reply was very direct. This group of soldiers didn't care about his life or death. There was no need for him to care about the lives of these soldiers. Of course, if he could take out a treasure worth 100,000 contribution points, he could consider it. After all, he still had to fight for the human race. Luo Feng was greedy, those soldiers were poor. This group of poor soldiers could not take out a treasure worth 100,000 military merit. Of course, the captain could, but the captain himself had the corpse of a true god. Hence, Luo Feng trained as he waited. After waiting for a whole year, there wasn't a single successful trade. Inhe, you're too greedy. Damn you, Inhe. Damn it. Not being able to get what they wanted, the group of soldiers were furious, even hating Luo Feng. I don't care if you all die. Luo Feng didn't care at all. Luo Feng completed this army mission for the 3rd year. Only then did he return to the army base, exchanging the 7 flying armor for merit points, the other 33 true god corpses for merit points, and began exchanging for treasures. The main thing was exchanging for a mechanical treasure, the Golden Claw God, spending 400,000 merit points. The remaining military merits were used to exchange for a domain-type supreme treasure, true god level, costing him 30,000 military merit. Golden Claw God. Luo Feng stood on his own island, within the huge stone house's hall. In the empty hall, there was a golden statue standing there. Luo Feng was carefully looking at this golden statue. Golden Claw God? Luo Feng muttered softly. Single-body type machinery, similar to the mysterious Wu Qi God, only its power is much smaller. Much smaller was relative to the Wu Qi God. After all, this was a mechanical treasure that cost 400,000 merit points. It was definitely much stronger than the Black Cloud Wings, etc. Defense, attack, speed, they're all strong. Luo Feng nodded. Very perfect. Being strong in every aspect meant that it wasn't overpowered, but it had no weaknesses. Deep within, Luo Feng actually had his eyes on the Wu Qi God, hence he made a simplified version, the Golden Claw God, and he liked these types of mechanical treasures that had no weaknesses. He didn't have enough merit points before, but after exchanging the 7 flying armor, he had enough. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. The golden statue before him flew towards him. Hua, the golden light flowed and instantly covered Luo Feng's entire body. In an instant, Luo Feng became a huge golden monster wearing a mask. This golden monster was humanoid, but his hands and legs were claws. His head was triangular, and he emitted an endless wild and ferocious energy. As the Golden Claw God was on him, it forced the Python River Army's armor to retreat. The two couldn't coexist. Luo Feng felt as though he had changed into a powerful armor. God energy ignition. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Rumble, the burning god energy swiftly entered the Golden Claw God armor. The strong energy immediately passed through the engravings within the Golden Claw God. However, the result was, he couldn't control it. Obviously, the engravings within were too difficult. Luo Feng could only temporarily stop the god energy ignition and carefully study the engravings. With Luo Feng's technique level, after studying for a total of 3 days, he finally understood how to control the entire Golden Claw God. Very quickly, following the large amounts of god energy ignition, following the countless engravings, the energy fused together and finally gathered at a point on the back of the Golden Claw God armor, 2 points on the shoulders and 2 points on the knees. A total of 5 centers. Energy conversion. CSI, the golden resilient energy, after conversion, swiftly spread to every part of the Golden Claw God. The golden energy and the Golden Claw God were incomparably compatible. Its power immediately rose. It's indeed different. With just 1 conversion, its power has risen by 2 levels. Luo Feng was overjoyed. My level 9 attack, if unleashed through the Golden Claw God, will it be level 11? Luo Feng truly felt the power of the mechanical treasures. There's such a treasure. I've always stood at the pinnacle of the universe sea, with this ancient golden claw god, who in the universe sea can be my match. Luo Feng was incomparably happy, in terms of battle strength. He was even stronger than the ancestor back then. Of course, the reason for this was because the ancestor didn't know the god energy ignition technique, and also because he didn't have any mechanical treasures. He believed that as the powers of the universe sea entered the gene world, the entire universe sea's battle strength would rise as a whole. However, mechanical treasures were normally only available to special army soldiers, and the amount of merit points required was very high. In a short period of time, it would be very difficult for the powers of the universe sea to exchange for mechanical treasures. With the golden claw god in his hands, Luo Feng naturally focused on his research, even going so far as to specially wear the golden claw god and enter the inheritance space within the tomb boat to train. Training time after time, it made Luo Feng even more emotional. No wonder the ancient civilization's records had so much praise for the mechanical treasures. Other than the pinnacle existences of the ancient civilization, normal warriors that used the mechanical treasures were able to explode with power far beyond their own. Just like himself, just a very well-rounded golden claw god was able to raise his power by 2 levels. And this is just a single piece of machinery. Like those groups, with over 10,000 true gods, even over 1 million true gods controlling mechanical treasures. Luo Feng exclaimed. Large-scale wars were like that. Over 1 million true gods controlling one mechanical treasure, they could easily chase after an eternal true god. Time passed. Luo Feng had been in the gene world for about 5,600 years. Wuhe quietly arrived on Luo Feng's island. Inhe, you know? The captain and the others are back. Wuhe seemed to be gloating. Ah! Luo Feng was shocked. Half an era had passed. He had almost forgotten about the captain and the other soldiers. How was it? How could it be? Of course it was terrible. Wuhe shook his ugly head and said, more than half of the 3 groups of soldiers died, and even Yu Luo was killed. Kufa, however, came back alive. Yu Luo died? Luo Feng was shocked. Yu Luo was the leader of that group. It shouldn't have been hard for him to gather enough merit points. Who knows, I heard the battle was intense. Wuhe exclaimed, originally, a disaster-level mission shouldn't have resulted in so many deaths. I heard it was because the captain was too vicious, forcing Kufa and Yu Luo to go crazy. Yu Luo died, Kufa luckily survived. However, that captain's rewards were not small. This time, the old soldiers had suffered heavy losses. Luo Feng and Wuhe, these 2 new soldiers, had no sympathy for them. Some of the surviving soldiers hated Luo Feng. Even as they flew past Luo Feng's island, they cursed and scolded him. They only thought Luo Feng's movements were powerful. They weren't afraid of him. If they had seen him kill a true god, they probably wouldn't have dared. It was a pity only the captain saw it personally, and the captain didn't announce it. Of course, some of them hated Luo Feng, some ignored him, the last few even took the initiative to befriend Luo Feng. Cause a ruckus. I'm just a passerby. I hope before I leave the gene world, you guys are still alive. Luo Feng didn't care about this group of soldiers at all. During this peaceful period, he went to the armory to apply for a titled mission. Obtaining a titled mission was dangerous, but at least there was a 10% chance of survival. Luo Feng believed that he was definitely 1 in 1,000 of the elite soldiers. It shouldn't be hard for him to survive. What's more, he had the ability to clone himself. How could he not try this titled mission? Just like that, time flowed. In the blink of an eye, Luo Feng's first era in the gene world passed, just like that. Today's 2nd chapter of the 3rd chapter. Tomato continues writing the 3rd chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1398. The huge humanoid life form was still lying within the universe sea, and the warriors from the various powers that had been peaceful for close to an era had already arrived. So, 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 so. Beams of different colored lights pierced through space and flew into the humanoid life form's mouth and into its body. In the space outside the small universe gene world, there were many palace treasures floating. They came from the 3 great reincarnation eras and the 2 sacred lands of the universe sea. If the first era was just an army marching forward to explore, then this time would be the first true large-scale entry. Within the resplendent star like palaces and treasures, within a 9-level pagoda. The gene world is filled with danger. Everyone follow me in, I'll bring you all directly to the Eastern Army camp. When that time comes, everyone will join the army. Everyone knows the dangers of joining the army, I don't have to say much. After entering the army, everything will depend on yourselves. Yuhai Luofeng surveyed his surroundings and said, "That's natural. Milky Way leader, we'll have to trouble you." The universe lords all spoke. Yuhai Luofeng nodded. This was the new Yuhai Luofeng. As the new Yuhai Luofeng had reached the perfect gene level, his natural god body was as strong as his earth body and the golden horned beast. Luofeng. Standing beside Yuhai Luofeng was the primal Chaos City leader. He communicated, "This time, all the other races of the Great Alliance are entering, a total of 36 universe lords. They aren't humans after all, you just have to guide them from the start. As for the future, you don't have to worry too much. Protecting yourself is the most important thing." "I understand." Luofeng nodded and smiled. The color has changed." Yuhai Luofeng looked at the distant small universe gene world outside. The outer membrane of the small universe gene world had already turned white. Obviously the obstructions had dropped to the lowest level and they could enter. "We can enter." "The color has changed." "We can enter the 4th danger zone." "Enter the gene world." The palaces and treasures that were originally floating in the void outside the realm of Gene immediately passed through the membrane and descended upon the realm of Gene. At the same time, streams of light came out of the small cosmos Gene realm. Clearly, they were the first batch of people to enter the small cosmos and were still alive. So, a silver battleship swiftly flew over. It was the tomb boat. "Let's head over," Yuhai Luofeng said. Very quickly, the tomb boat and the star tower approached each other. At the same time, the cabin door of the tomb boat opened. "Go over," Yuhai Luofeng ordered. Immediately, the universe lords of the Great Alliance left the Star Pagoda and entered the tomb boat. Only Yuhai Luofeng and the Primal Chaos City leader were left in the Star Pagoda. The Primal Chaos City leader immediately realized Yuhai Luofeng's body was swiftly weakening. Within moments, he was only left with 80%. "What is it?" the Primal Chaos City master asked. "I consumed a lot of energy in the realm of Gene, I need to replenish it." Yuhai Luofeng smiled. Back when he killed that beast true god, he was after all using the 2nd level of annihilation. Under those circumstances the consumption was simply shocking. Even though he killed that beast god, Luofeng's divine body was greatly drained. Luckily he had the golden horned beast to replenish his energy, allowing him to maintain his peak condition. It was very difficult to replenish divine power in the realm of Gene. A great era passed, yet it was only slightly replenished. And at this time, inside the tomb boat was the earth body and the golden horned beast. The distance was close, the god energy could naturally be exchanged and replenished. Now that I've learned the burning god energy technique, and have a set of ultimate treasures, even in the universe sea, I can unleash the pinnacle of level 10 strength. Comparable to the ancestor back then. Now I can trample on you however I want. Look, this is my new supreme treasure battleship. Inside a dazzling golden battleship, Rampage Fiend God was bragging to his old friend, Star Lord Bei-Chi. "You're vicious, you're powerful." Bei-Chi forcefully resisted listening to Rampage Demon's bragging. Rampage Demon was extremely proud. He was a lone traveler. After acquiring a powerful treasure, How could he not flaunt it? Rumble! The battleship flew at high speeds, even knocking away another ball-shaped treasure. Who dares to knock into my god-eyed race palace? That ball-shaped treasure immediately had a powerful warrior raging, communicating, and roaring. I'm Rampage, so what? Rampage Demon was however unbridled. Immediately, the god-eyed race calmed down. Back then, Rampage Demon's plan was to acquire more ultimate treasures in the Universe Sea. However, as the army's information was unearthed, it was transmitted to the various powers of the Universe Sea. His plan eventually failed, and Rampage Demon took the initiative to flaunt, to let the Universe Sea know just how strong he was now. Even the god-eyed race, against a lone traveler Rampage Demon, they could only swallow their anger and walk away. Let's go. Within the tomb boat, Luo Feng stood within the palace. Behind him were the 36 Universe Lords of the Great Alliance. Naturally, they all listened to him. So, following the order, the ship immediately flew towards the realm of Jin. A large number of Universe Lords were gathered inside a pitch-black battleship. There were close to 100 of them. The Ancestor has ordered. This time, our Purple Moon Sacred Land will enter Jin World. Our first goal is to borrow the army to kill the Milky Way leader Luo Feng. As long as the army attacks, their souls will destroy Luo Feng. His many bodies will be destroyed. He won't even have a chance to revive. We will first find out where he is. A two-faced four-armed black armored man roared. The group of Universe Lords below all listened solemnly. The group of Universe Lords from the Great Alliance have already set off. Let's follow. Rumble! The black battleship, as the tomb boat flew towards Jin World, it too followed closely. Back in the First Era, there were very few who entered, and most of them died. Those who could survive an era in Jin World were very few. Hence many powers only received information about Jin World from the Great Alliance and other places. They themselves didn't have any strong warriors in Jin World, hence they were still wary and worried that the information they received was inaccurate. Hence in this second era, the various powers of the Universe Sea had a total of over 1,000 Universe Lords heading out. Comparatively speaking, it wasn't much, because, especially in the First Era, the number of Universe Lords exceeded 2,000. They were facing their limits. If they knew more about Jin World, just from the First Era alone, more than half of them would rush in. And currently, in the entire First Era, there were only about 600 that entered. It was believed that in the Third Era there would be a new peak. I lost him. The moment the Purple Moon Black battleship entered Jin World, it discovered that the tomb boat had swiftly teleported away. Even though I lost him, the location where Luo Feng led the group of Universe Lords from the Great Alliance was obviously in the East Army's area. Luo Feng could very well have joined the East Army. However, just in case, of our close to 100 Universe Lords, 20 will go to the North Army, 20 to the South Army, 20 to the West Army and the rest to the East Army. The Purple Moon Black battleship began to depart. After all, 2 Universe Lords from the Purple Moon Sacred Land had entered before. This era's time was enough for them to get a rough map of Jin World, allowing them to know the locations of the 4 armies. The various powers of the Universe Sea entered silently, almost like a pail of water being poured into the vast ocean. It didn't cause any commotion at all. East Army Camp, Mang River Camp. In he. A voice resounded from outside. Luo Feng walked out of the stone house and looked up into the sky. There was a ferocious beast Wuha. In he, the other soldiers are preparing to depart for this era's army mission. Wuha said, and the 9 new recruits from the previous era, they too will be going for the mission. Let's depart too. Wuha was more than happy to team up with Luo Feng. 9 new recruits? Luo Feng was shocked. The soldiers that joined in the recent era after accepting the mission naturally had to wait until the new era to begin their first mission. However, the entire Mang River army was so big, his little team only had 9 soldiers. It was a little too much. Every era of the Mang River Army, there will be quite a few soldiers. Because our little team has just gone through a disaster-level mission, and our losses are huge. Hence we mainly replenish our team. Wuha explained. Ah, then let's go. Luo Feng nodded. However, Wuha, I'll tell you beforehand, this time I won't be working with you. Not working together? Wuha was curious. However, he wasn't worried, because after the disaster-level mission, for a very, very long time, the army missions would be very easy. I have something to do. Luo Feng didn't say much, titled mission. He didn't want to talk too much about it. They first headed to the basic inheritance island to meet up. Obviously the captain and the other old soldiers were hostile towards Luo Feng, while the rest were friendly. This made the 9 new recruits curious about Luo Feng. Recruits, let me remind you. Luo Feng arrived at the basic inheritance island, completely ignoring the captain and the others, saying to the 9 new recruits, Kufa is not bad, you can follow her. As for the captain? If you don't want to die, don't follow him. The new recruits were shocked. He. The captain's expression was ugly. Did I say something wrong? Luo Feng glanced at him. The entire 6th team, everyone could feel the hostility between Luo Feng and the captain. Actually, back when the captain was greedy for Luo Feng's huge amount of merit points, the two had already been on opposing sides. The captain had personally witnessed Luo Feng's strength, plus the huge amount of merit points he got from the previous mission. Exchanging for a mechanical treasure was easy. After this era, his strength would definitely be much stronger than before. Hence deep within, the captain feared Luo Feng. Go accept the army mission. The captain immediately turned and ordered. Spending close to a day's time, they passed through the army camp and arrived before the evil shrine. Rumble! A beam of light enveloped the entire 6th team. The other soldiers all received simple missions, while Luo Feng received a titled mission. God Emperor Valley? The place where the God Emperor lived back then? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with shock. The location of the titled mission is actually there. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1399. Titled Mission, Overlord Level, Location, God Emperor Valley Mission Details. God Emperor Valley is where the great God Emperor lived back then. It's also where he created the Awakening Crow God. Within the God Emperor Valley, there's a tower called the Awakening Crow Tower. It's 9 levels high. The 9th level is the highest. To date, only the God Emperor has entered the 9th level. The mission's goal is to enter the Awakening Crow Tower and reach the 9th level. Whoever reaches the top will receive a title. Reward. Return alive and receive 10,000 points. Success will receive a title. Endless benefit. Punishment. No punishment for failure. Important reminder. This mission is extremely dangerous. The participants are the pinnacle of the 4 armies of the Gene world. All of them have gone through much training and are well prepared. The death rate is over 90%. You have to be careful. The titled mission seems simple. There was no punishment for failure. However, in truth, the high death rate was the most terrifying punishment. Everyone who accepted the titled mission knew of this death rate. Almost all of them would prepare a palace-type treasure, or even a machine-type treasure. However, so many still died. Don't get careless. If I die, the Golden Claw God, Tomb Boat, Blood Shadow Blade, Python River Army Armor, etc. are taken away by the other soldiers. That would be a joke. Luo Feng reminded himself. This mission is extremely simple. As long as you recruits don't mess around, you can easily pass this mission. The captain's voice resounded from beside. The last time was a disaster-level mission. We survived with the captain, you 9 recruits. Why aren't you coming over? We're willing to accept you. Why aren't you coming? The captain and his subordinates all shouted. Following you, even if we don't die this time, we'll die in the future. Kufa said coldly, haven't you guys suffered enough? If it wasn't for me and you Luo teaming up, forcing the captain to not abandon you, do you think you'd survive? The 9 recruits immediately hesitated. I'm willing to stay with Kufa and the rest. Wuha shouted loudly from the side. Luo Feng, who was thinking about the titled mission, turned to look. The other side was obviously like fire and water, the captain and Kufa's group. And Wuha too joined Kufa and the rest, leaving only the 9 hesitating recruits. These recruits even looked at Luo Feng. They could feel that the captain and Kufa were afraid of Luo Feng. Stay with Kufa and the rest. At least if Kufa wants to abandon you, she doesn't have the power. Luo Feng said softly. As soon as he said that, some of the hesitant recruits immediately walked towards Kufa's group. After the first recruit joined Kufa's group, the other recruits also walked towards Kufa's group. They also felt that Inhe's words were reasonable. In terms of strength, Kufa was inferior to their captain. Even if Kufa wanted to use such a large group of soldiers, he didn't have the ability. Inhe, are you going to make an enemy out of the captain? Inhe. Immediately, the soldiers under the captain roared. The captain didn't speak, only his gray eyes under his curved horns stared straight at Luo Feng. Becoming enemies with your captain? Luo Feng glanced at the captain, lightly laughing. Is he worthy? The soldier's eyes widened, and the captain's face turned ugly. Inhe, I don't have time to waste with you. Kufa, Wuha, let's go. Luo Feng smiled and waved to Kufa and Wuha, immediately heading towards the warped wormhole not too far away. Kufa and his group of soldiers were still upset that Luo Feng didn't trade with them back then. However, they were clear. The captain and his group couldn't do anything to Inhe, much less them. What's more, they didn't have any enmity with Inhe. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's go. Let's go. Kufa, Wuha and the others majestically flew into the wormhole. The captain and his group's expressions were ugly. Captain, we're letting Inhe go just like that? If we let Inhe go like that, he'll still fight with you in the future. Right now we don't even have 10 soldiers on our side. Kufa and his group have the most. If Inhe causes trouble again, Captain, you won't have any authority in the future. You can't let Inhe go like that. Captain. The old soldiers all looked at the captain. The captain said coldly, ignore him for now. So, the captain led the way into the wormhole. The other old soldiers looked at each other. How could the proud and ruthless captain be so soft on Inhe? Unless the captain was really afraid of Inhe? These old soldiers began to have many thoughts. Simultaneously they all flew into the wormhole. In a region outside the Eastern Army camp, large amounts of wormhole exits were gathered here. Rumble, 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 rumble. Batches of soldiers appeared from the wormhole. These soldiers chatted amongst themselves, after which they too rode on their battleships and swiftly left. Not far away from this area, on top of an ancient tree, there was a gray-armored soldier staring at it. There are so many going on missions. The gray-armored soldier communicated, you say, if we keep watching, how long will it take? Right now, the previous era has just ended and the new era has just begun. All the teams are leaving to do their missions. It's the craziest time. If that Luo Feng wants to leave, he'll probably leave at this time too. The primogenitor specially ordered for the 10 of us to guard the area. If we endure these 100 years, we'll be able to go do our missions. Not far away, the soldier leaning against a large tree seemed to be very relaxed, but in fact, he was also staring at that large area. At this time, Purple Moon Sacred Land Universe, a total of 10 universe lords were watching the area. This was the peak time for the soldiers to leave. Luo Feng's chances of appearing were the highest. How could they be careless? Even if they didn't go on missions, they still had to watch. Look, it's the Blood Ochre Army. Watch, that's the Special Army. Luo Feng's highest chance of appearing is the Special Army. Amongst the large amounts of soldiers that appeared, occasionally there would be Special Army soldiers. As time passed, Occasionally there would be a small team of special army soldiers, occasionally a small team. Finally, rumble! A group of silhouettes flew out from one of the wormholes. It's the Python River Army, also a special army. Watch. Purple Moon Sacred Land Universe had 10 Universe Lords guarding the area. A total of 6 of them stared in this direction. The group of silhouettes flew out, all of them dressed in the Python River Army armor. Just from the armor alone, one could tell who they were. The first batch of Universe Lords from Purple Moon Sacred Land entered. At least they were able to find out more about the special armies within the East Army. Inhi, we'll split up here. Inhi, if you're not going on missions with us, where are you going? Wuha and Kufa spoke. I have important matters to attend to. Luo Feng smiled. As it was a normal conversation, whether it was Luo Feng, Wuha or Kufa, they all spoke normally, without any sneaky transmissions. The 6 Universe Lords of Purple Moon Sacred Land were all staring. When they saw Luo Feng, they didn't realize that he was the target. Because within this army, Luo Feng's appearance had changed slightly. His skin color had changed slightly too. He looked even more crude, plus he was covered in the Python River armor and helmet, hence they couldn't tell. However, as Luo Feng and the others spoke, even though they were far away and couldn't hear clearly, the 6 Universe Lords only needed to look at their lips to easily determine what they were saying. Inhi? This word immediately moved them. The target looks like a human. It's very likely he's the Milky Way leader Luo Feng. Watch him. Immediately go identify him. Soon, one of the 10 Universe Lords standing guard in the distance immediately came out. It was an ordinary-looking gray-armored soldier, who turned into a stream of light and flew towards the wormhole region where a large number of soldiers were gathered. So, as there were many soldiers around, Luo Feng didn't even notice that normal soldier, following him as he flew past. HM? Luo Feng frowned and turned to look. Aura, this was an aura he recognized. There were only so many warriors in the cosmic sea. Back then, to stop the huge being, there were thousands of Universe Lords gathered. Luo Feng naturally recognized many Universe Lords. The one before was one of them. Sensing his aura, he should be from the Purple Moon Sacred Land. What a coincidence. I actually met one here. Luo Feng was suspicious within. Looks like he should have noticed me. Even if he did, so what? Here, it's not their turn. Luo Feng didn't put the Purple Moon Sacred Land in his eyes. After all, the rules of Gene World were set by the army. What was the Purple Moon Sacred Land? Time to go. Luo Feng piloted a battleship and swiftly tore through space. That gray-armored soldier flew past Luo Feng and immediately confirmed, "It's Luo Feng's aura, it's his aura." That Python River soldier was Luo Feng, confirmed, "It's Luo Feng." News confirmed. Immediately report to the ancestor. The incredibly excited group of Universe Lords from the Purple Moon Sacred Land immediately reported the news to the Purple Moon ancestor. Cosmic Sea, Purple Moon Sacred Land Universe. Within the palace, a purple silhouette stood there, and below him were 10 Universe Lords kneeling. Confirmed, it's Luo Feng? The purple silhouette gazed below. Yes, it's Luo Feng. His name in Gene World is Inhi, and I personally flew past him and felt his life energy. It's Luo Feng's Earth God body. One of the Universe Lords kneeling below said respectfully. Very good. The Purple Moon ancestor nodded. Since we've confirmed he's from the Python River Army, immediately investigate and find out which team and team he's from. We have to be clear. Yes. The people below all replied. This was easy. The Python River Army had so many soldiers after all. And knowing their names, along with their looks, it was naturally easy to investigate. After investigating, there's no rush to act. The Purple Moon ancestor ordered. The moment it's done, wait patiently for Luo Feng to return to his camp. The moment he does, we'll begin the ambush. If we do it earlier and the Hong Alliance finds out, they'll inform Luo Feng. It won't be good if he escapes. When he returns, he'll fall into the ambush and have nowhere to run. Yes. The 10 soldiers all replied respectfully. Asterisk, 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 to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1400. When Luo Feng headed towards the God King Valley, in the distant primal universe, human territory, primal region. Hua Hua, the endless dark ocean rippled constantly. Endless and limitless. After over 8 million years, the size of the endless dark ocean compared to the time of the war between the human and allied armies was much, much bigger. The endless dark ocean sat in the primal region, causing every warrior that came to the primal region to be shocked and shocked. This is the endless dark ocean. Endless dark ocean? The legendary Great Milky Way leader's body. Rumor has it that during the war, close to 1,000 universe lords from the allied armies couldn't do anything to the Milky Way leader. Just how big is this? Such a huge body, even if it continuously burns its god energy, how long will it take to burn it all out? A ship was flying above the endless dark ocean. Within it, Undyings and Sector Lords were all looking out, looking at the endless dark ocean. All of them were extremely excited. In these 8 million years, humanity's position in the primal universe had gotten higher and higher. Because the small-scale battles between humanity and the allied armies had always been going on. Large amounts of Sector Lords, Undyings, Knights, they would often fight. Occasionally universe lords would fight amongst themselves. Hence the news of the war had long spread amongst humanity, causing the Sector Lords and Undyings to be filled with confidence and fighting spirit. Also, under the deliberate guidance of humanity, the entire human race's generation after generation of Sector Lords and Undyings all remembered the primal Chaos City leader and Milky Way leader. Maybe these Sector Lords and Undyings didn't know what the strongest in the universe meant, but they knew one thing: the most important and strongest of humanity were the primal Chaos City leader and Milky Way leader. The two of them were the pillars of humanity. The great Milky Way leader's body, just how big is it? The endless dark ocean is said to be constantly growing. Back then I received news that its diameter was over 1 trillion kilometers. It's definitely much bigger now. They were all discussing. The Emperor-level Undyings piloting the ship, a skinny man with a head full of golden scales, spoke. The great Milky Way leader's endless dark ocean body, its diameter is now over 2 light years. 2 light years? Wow, such a huge body. Back then close to 1,000 universe lords couldn't even deal with the Milky Way leader. Now he's definitely invincible. Invincible. The Sector Lords and Undyings were all shocked and filled with reverence. This universe ship flew above the endless ghost ocean, and the endless ghost ocean was as calm as before. After all, humanity's efforts in nurturing geniuses had greatly increased. Especially with the ancient civilization, many Sector Lords and Undyings were sent to the primal region to be nurtured, or sent to primal Chaos City to be nurtured. In short, anyone who passed by the endless tranquil sea would be amazed. At this moment, in the central region of the endless tranquil ocean, there was a vacuum region with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers. Not a single drop of seawater from the endless tranquil ocean entered it, and it was like a huge bubble in the center of the endless tranquil ocean. In this vacuum region, there were a large number of items floating in the air. All kinds of metals, minerals, soil, liquids. How big was a region with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers? However, this vacuum region was almost filled to the brim. It could be said that everything that could be found in the primeval universe, from the ordinary planets, stars, neutron stars, black holes, to the mysterious special fruit of life, the immortal tree, and so on. There were even parts of the corpses of the billions of races in the universe, and even parts of the corpses of a large number of special lifeforms. Dead or alive. From the primeval universe, the cosmic sea, and even the gene realm. Billions of metals. Billions of special energy bodies. billions of liquids, trillions of plants, all matter, even all life forms, from the lowest single-cell organisms to the highest universe lords and true God corpses. Even the drop of God blood forced out of Wu Yuyi's white wings was all stored here. Natural ability. Creation. Once again, he unleashed his natural ability. Immediately, the vacuum region within the endless tranquil sea fell into a unique domain. This unique domain could not be obtained through cultivation. It was purely a domain brought about by using the innate talent secret technique of creation. Within this unique domain, everything within the domain would be rapidly dissected, with the intention of dissecting the source of their life. Large amounts of the gene realm's countless metals, plants etc., especially large amounts of true God blood and scales etc., I hope I'll have a huge harvest this time. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. Before, he was stuck at a bottleneck in his God energy path. The main thing was that there were too few true God life forms that could be dissected. Even though there was a drop of powerful God blood, that drop was too high level and he couldn't understand it. It was completely silent. The floating drops of blood, scales and even hair were dissected, the life source structure, everything appeared before Luo Feng's eyes. Complex. Comparable to the Sharpness Emperor game, it far surpassed any of the Sharpness Emperor games Luo Feng had studied before. After all, this was the life source structure of a true God. Luckily Luo Feng didn't need to study it completely, all he needed to do was to find out the difference between a true God and a universe lord's life source structure, and then change his own life source structure to upgrade his genes. Haha! So much true God blood, scales, hair, it's really satisfying. Immediately, trillions of thoughts were discovered by Luo Feng, however these trillions of thoughts were all wrong. When the endless tranquil ocean was being dissected, within the gene realm, the golden horned beast that was hiding in the training space, maintaining 10,000 times time acceleration, was experimenting. God energy dissect. Golden horned Luo Feng's thoughts move. Hua, immediately one of the golden horned beast's claws dissected into large amounts of God energy floating around. Life reform. The life source structure within the God energy was immediately controlled and modified by Luo Feng, almost like genetic modification. However, Luo Feng's was obviously on a higher level. He had already modified the basic structure to allow himself to break through. The moment he succeeded, he would immediately become a powerful true God. Pung! With an explosion, the God energy once again gathered and returned to its original life source structure. The perfect genes from before were extremely perfect and stable life sources. Wanting to break through and surpass them was extremely difficult. God energy reform failed. Try again. After receiving the large amounts of true God blood, scales and hair from the gene realm, Luo Feng had a large amount of thoughts and ideas. Naturally, he had to constantly experiment and explore the mysteries of life. Failure. Failure. Reform failed. Every time he failed, he gained experience. Every path, all led to the same destination. The life source was also one of the evolution sources of the universe. It too contained the ultimate mysteries. This path of God energy development was very beneficial to Luo Feng's creation of techniques and other things. Time passed, the training space had 10,000 times time acceleration. In the blink of an eye, 160 years had passed. I'll definitely succeed. I have a feeling I'm about to succeed. I was so close last time. Life reform. The entrenched golden horned beast's claws transformed into a vast amount of God energy. The God energy was swiftly changing within itself. The most basic structure within was undergoing a change. Everything stop. Luo Feng stopped his control, finally stopping if he failed. Then the God energy that was changed would swiftly break down and recover. If it was stable, it meant there was a chance of success. After all, even if it was stable, the new life source structure wouldn't necessarily surpass the limits of perfection. It could even be lower. like 9,800 times life energy, it's stable. Luo Feng was overjoyed. God energy level, Luo Feng carefully felt it. This was a new God energy, strong and extremely sharp, almost as though it was ready to attack at any moment. 16,000 times. Luo Feng immediately made a rough judgment. I've succeeded. Luo Feng was immediately overjoyed. I've broken through the perfect gene bottleneck. If he had been studying the origin law lords and countless other substances, he might have been able to break through, however it was too difficult. And a true God's life source was obviously much higher, giving Luo Feng countless ideas and paths. After being stuck at the bottleneck for over 8 million eras, under the situation where he had enough true God blood, scales and hair, he broke through in just over 100 years. God body reform. Golden-horned Luo Feng roared. Rumble. The entire golden-horned beast suddenly broke apart, transforming into a vast amount of God energy, following which large amounts of God energy swiftly condensed and transformed back into a golden-horned beast. This was a golden-horned beast that looked exactly the same, however its energy was obviously much stronger. God body reform. The body of the earthling in the tomb boat was also instantly reconstructed. His gene level immediately soared to 16,000 times. His quality had improved, but his God's body had decreased again. The earthling's God's body was only left with 60% or so. Replenish. The golden-horned beast's God energy swiftly replenished, allowing the earth human body to swiftly recover to 100% of his God body. This feeling, it's wonderful. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee. He could feel his God body itching to try. Even the distant God country was restless, because the God body's strength allowed it to hold an even stronger God country. The God country only needed to expand, and it would immediately transform into a small universe. Meaning, as long as Luo Feng was willing, he could immediately transform the God country into a small universe, and his God body would rise by 100 times, entering the true God level. Only, right now his life genetic level was only 16,000 times. It was far from Luo Feng's requirements. Even this level didn't help his strength much. After all, the God body path had 3 levels. Reaching 30,000 times was the first level, only then would the body's height increase by 10 times. And right now Luo Feng couldn't even increase his body's height. Haha, I've only just gotten the scales and blood of these true gods, and I've already reached 16,000 times. Luo Feng was filled with confidence, even though over 100 years had passed in the training space. In truth, only 4 days had passed in the outside world when Luo Feng rowed the tomb boat to the godly King Valley. Luo Feng still needed over a month to reach the distant godly King Valley. 1.5 months later, Luo Feng, who was piloting the silver battleship, saw the vast continent in the center of the endless ocean. The godly King Valley was on that continent. I've arrived. Luo Feng's attention was temporarily diverted from his training, as he was about to begin the incomparably dangerous titled mission. The monthly votes have been bothering me, brothers. I'm begging for monthly votes. Monthly votes are great support. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1401. On the silver battleship, he looked down at the vast continent. As the silver battleship teleported closer, the continent quickly became clearer. This continent was called the Godly King World. Accurately speaking, the Gene World had 5 main continents. The Eastern Army, Western Army, Northern Army and Southern Army each controlled a vast continent and part of the ocean. On the vast ocean there were many scattered islands. Among them, the Godly King World was the biggest island. Plus it was where the Godly King lived. Naturally, its position was special. Even though its area was not as big as the other 4 continents, due to its special position, it was still considered one of the 5. Godly King World. Luo Feng looked down. With a glance. The entire godly king world continent was filled with mountains and lake. It was a beautiful sight. Luo Feng was shocked. The countless undulating mountain ranges were like runes of laws. Even the lakes were like nodes. Just looking at the entire God-King world, Luo Feng felt countless mysteries surge into his mind. It was just that it was too profound, far exceeding the level of comprehension Luo Feng could comprehend right now. That's right. Luo Feng nodded. According to the information I gathered, the godly king world is where the godly king live. Normally, the living beings of the Gene world don't have the right to enter. I applied for a titled mission to be able to enter in this era. Where the godly king lives, how can there not be some special formations or techniques to intimidate his subordinates? Luo Feng laughed. Just like the many important places in the primal region, they would twist space and place many dangers. And if the godly king from the Gene world acted, it would naturally be even more extraordinary. Just as Luo Feng was controlling the tomb boat and flying high in the sky, suddenly a silhouette appeared from the vast continent below. Following closely, the silhouette swiftly flew towards Luo Feng. Godly King World Restricted Area, trespassing is prohibited. Stop. A raging voice resounded. The voice rumbled, immediately. The space around the tomb boat was isolated from the outside world. He couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Void True God. Luo Feng was shocked. I am the Eastern Army Python River Army Officer In He. Luo Feng exited the tomb boat cabin door and said towards the distance, because of a titled mission, I came to the godly king world. Officer In He? The Void True God looked from afar and carefully inspected, after which the space around him returned to normal. Follow me, the Void Real God said. Luo Feng kept the tomb boat and flew over at once. He did not have any other thoughts in front of a Void Real God. After all, with the abilities of a Void Real God, no matter how hard he tried, he would still be killed. Hence, it was naturally better to be obedient. As he flew over, Luo Feng was also observing the Void Real God. The Void Real God was a warrior of the tribe, and it was obvious that he had a humanoid form. He had a dark golden body that seemed to be made of copper, 6 ears, and a pair of eyes that glowed with red light. Even though he was standing in the void, he gave off a domineering aura. In He greets Lord. Luo Feng flew closer and bowed. I am one of the guardians of the God King realm. My name is Baitsong. The Void Real God said directly, if you want to take on the titled mission, follow me. I will bring you to the Divine King Valley. Without my guidance, you won't be able to reach God King Valley. Yes. Luo Feng replied. Whoosh, whoosh. The godly king realm guard Bei Tsong led Luo Feng through an ultra-long-distance teleportation towards the godly king valley. Lord Bei Tsong. The more Luo Feng looked down, the more he felt that it was mysterious. I feel that the continent of the God King realm seems to have rule tattoos everywhere. Could it be that there are dangers everywhere? The guard Bei Tsong looked at Luo Feng and let out a rare smile. Yes, the continent of the God King realm is indeed filled with danger. After all, the continent is too big. If a large number of overlords and true gods wander around, even if there are many guards, they can't take care of all of them. Then, once they trespass, they will be in danger of dying. Because of this, no one usually dares to enter the God King realm. Luo Feng nodded. The information he received also stated that trespassing was forbidden. Trespassing would result in death. As for the rule tattoos everywhere, the guard Bei Tsong sighed. Because the entire God King realm is a super-mechanical type treasure created by His Majesty the God King. Mechanical type treasure? Luo Feng was shocked. Treasure, a supreme treasure. For the Void Real God of the world of Gene to call it a mechanical-type treasure, it was definitely not something that any treasure in the cosmic sea could compare to. Such a huge mechanical-type treasure? Luo Feng was stunned. One had to know that the universe boat's length was only about 100 million light-years. And this continent of the God-King realm was after all one of the 5 great continents. Even though it was far from the other 4 continents, the diameter of the God-King realm was definitely more than 1 billion light-years. Such a majestic and resplendent continent was actually a mechanical-type treasure? Haha, His Majesty the God-King is most proficient in mechanical-type treasures. The guard Bei Tsang sighed proudly. This continent of the God-King realm was just an experimental product of His Majesty back then. His Majesty still has the real God-King realm. That treasure accompanied His Majesty the God-King as he roamed the endless worlds. It's invincible. Luo Feng held his breath. He had seen that humanoid creature before. Just the humanoid creature's body was already so huge. Hence, it was normal for it to have such a ridiculous mechanical-type treasure. If that huge creature really is His Majesty the God-King, then how did His Majesty end up in such a state? Even his world of Jin, the universe lords and true gods of the cosmic sea can enter as they please? And the people of his world of Jin die one after another? Luo Feng felt. The cosmic sea and the world of Jin seemed to be on opposite side. Also, the cosmic sea had the advantage. The beings of the cosmic sea could enter the world of Jin, but the beings of the world of Jin couldn't. As they chatted, very quickly they arrived in the air above a beautiful valley. That's the Godly King Valley. Guard Bei Tsang pointed downwards. Below him was an incomparably beautiful and tranquil valley. Back then, when His Majesty was in the God-King world, he often stayed in God-King Valley. I've already told the guards of God-King Valley about your arrival. Go ahead, the guards of God-King Valley will not stop you. Thank you, Lord Bei Tsang, Luo Feng said. And that 9-level pagoda? The guard Bei Tsang pointed at the tallest building in the entire Godly King Valley. That's the Awakening Tower. Go, I hope, after this titled mission is over, I'll still be able to see you come out alive. After which the guard Bei Tsang shook his head and immediately teleported away. Luo Feng looked at the 9-level pagoda and thought, come out alive? Not only do I have to come out alive, I also want to see why over the countless years, not a single Origin Law Lord has been able to reach the top. I want to see what can stop me. Luo Feng was extremely proud and confident. How could he lose confidence just because of the danger of the titled mission? If he didn't have confidence, he wouldn't have come here. So, Luo Feng immediately flew over. The Godly King Valley was heavily guarded. However, the guards knew Luo Feng's identity and that he was here for the titled mission. Hence, they didn't stop him. They only communicated, entering the Godly King Valley, you're not allowed to fly. Hence, Luo Feng walked within the Godly King Valley and headed straight for the Awakening Tower. The Awakening Tower was over 1,000 light-years tall. It was the tallest structure in the Godly King Valley. Below this majestic structure there were 6 silhouettes. Soldier, come over. One of the 6 silhouettes, a unicorn beast, roared. This unicorn beast was the only true god around. The other 5 silhouettes were all Origin Law Lord. Luo Feng immediately walked over and swept his gaze. You are this batch's 6th Origin Law Lord. The unicorn beast roared. According to the rules, every 10 soldiers will enter the Awakening Tower together. Right now there are a total of 3 batches entering. You are the 4th batch. Wait for a while and gather 10 soldiers before you enter. Luo Feng nodded to indicate he understood. On this patch of grass, the other 5 soldiers were either standing, sitting, or lying on their stomachs. Those were the strange beast soldiers. Python River Army? You are from the Eastern Army? A soldier walked over. He was a tall, thin, and strange soldier with a black beard. The soldier wore a strange beast pattern on his armor, and the head of a beast was also roaring on his helmet. You are from the Awakening Dragon Army? Luo Feng smiled. The Awakening Dragon Army was one of the special armies of the Eastern Army. I am from the Awakening Dragon Army, Su Zhong. That tall and skinny soldier said immediately. I am from the Python River Army, Yin He. Luo Feng said too. That tall and skinny soldier revealed an expression of closeness. He exclaimed, the other 4 are from other armies. They aren't from our Eastern Army. To be able to meet our Eastern Army here, I'm really happy. Which big team are you from? This is the first time I've seen you. I'm a new recruit, Luo Feng said casually. The moment he said that, the tall and skinny soldier revealed a look of shock. Even the other 4 soldiers nearby were shocked. New recruit. The tall and skinny soldier realized. No wonder I've never seen you before. You should have just joined a few eras ago. There are only so many special armies in our Eastern Army. I recognize most of the most outstanding ones. However, Yin He, since you're doing a titled mission, your power must be extremely strong. I believe your name will soon spread throughout the other special armies. Luo Feng laughed. Entering the Awakening Tower was extremely dangerous. Since they were all from the Eastern Army, if they could form a relationship, it might be of some help during the process. In the blink of an eye, another 6 days had passed. More and more soldiers arrived. 10 soldiers are enough. You are the 4th batch of soldiers that entered the Awakened Crows building. I'll tell you in advance that more than half of the first 3 batches of soldiers in the Awakened Crows building have died. I hope I can see you all come out alive. The 10 soldiers were shocked. More than half of the previous 3 batches had died? Luo Feng was shocked too. Those who dared to come here were definitely the elites of the 4 armies. Rumble, in the distance, that incomparably huge door that was over 100 light years tall was slowly opening. That huge door emitted a glaring rainbow light, making it hard for Luo Feng and the others to look straight at it. An endless pressure emanated from the Awakening Tower. Enter, the unicorn beast said. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1402. Luo Feng and the other 10 soldiers from the 4th Army of the Jin world glanced at each other, after which they all became beams of light and flew towards the huge door. None of them dared to teleport, after all, they all knew the danger of the titled mission. Wuqi Building, 1st level world. In the vast desert world, cold winds blew past, it was extremely cold, the sand grains had frost forming on them. In the distance there was a huge space door, only to see so. 10 silhouettes flew in from the space door, all of them surveying their surroundings, before slowly descending and standing in the desert. Wuqi Building 1st level? Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. It was an endless desert world, there was no end to it, even the space door in the distance had vanished. This Wuqi building is extremely dangerous. Beside Luo Feng, the tall and skinny soldier Su Zhong communicated, Yin He, where do you think the danger is? Is it beneath this endless desert? No idea. Luo Feng shook his head. 10 soldiers, a total of 6 tribal warriors and 4 beast warriors, all of them were extremely cautious and cautious. Of the 10 soldiers, only 2 were from the Eastern Army, Luo Feng and Su Zhong. The 2 of them naturally got closer to each other. If they met with any danger, they would be able to deal with it together. Rumble. In the peaceful desert world, there was suddenly a huge rumble, the energy ripple spread out in all directions, immediately sweeping through the endless region. Luo Feng and the others all felt the ripple. Turning to look, they saw in the distant sky above the desert world, a glaring lightning-like pillar of light, twisting and extending downwards. Within a few seconds, that huge green pillar of light had connected the desert and the endless sky. What is that? It seems to contain an extremely strong energy. The soldiers were all extremely curious. At this time, on the surface of the endless green light pillar that connected the desert and the highest point, huge black words suddenly appeared, black as ink. Every word emitted an overflowing killing intent. That killing intent immediately invaded the minds of Luo Feng and the other soldiers. the strong killing intent. Even Luo Feng's willpower couldn't help but feel restless. His eyes were slightly red. His heart seemed to be roaring constantly. The black words appeared one by one. This is the pathway that connects the first and second level of the Wu Qi building. Those who enter the pathway will be able to enter the second level. You must kill a soldier to enter the tunnel. If you don't kill the other soldiers, you will never be able to leave. Before the next batch of soldiers opens the door again, those who haven't entered the second floor will be annihilated. Those who hide in warship-type treasures to avoid the battle are considered to have failed and will be annihilated. The black words floated in the air, emitting a boundless pressure. Just the killing intent within the words alone was enough to make every soldier unable to hold it in. With such power, if he wanted to destroy these Law Lord soldiers, a simple sweep would be enough. No one could play any pranks within the Awakening Crow building. Luo Feng and the other 10 soldiers didn't doubt the authenticity of the words at all. So, we have to kill one soldier to enter the pathway and enter the second level? Luo Feng was shocked. That means out of 10 soldiers, at least 5 have to die. Luo Feng immediately understood why the horned beast outside said the first 3 batches of soldiers had died. Kill one? Who should I choose? Luo Feng's gaze swept around. As the 10 soldiers entered together, they weren't too far from each other, all of them looking around cautiously. They were all thinking which soldier to choose as their opponent. Those who dared to come here were all extraordinary. If they chose someone too strong, they might even lose their lives. Without a sound, the surrounding space froze. This seemed to be something done simultaneously by many different soldiers. Rumble. Accompanied by a violent rumble, one of the soldiers moved, causing the previously oppressive situation to instantly explode. Immediately, boom! Rumble! Rumble! The soldiers all exploded and rushed towards their target. Howl, an ugly beast with huge scaled wings, roared and rushed towards Luo Feng. Go and die! A burly soldier was holding a malevolent sledgehammer. The sledgehammer was surrounded by endless thunder and lightning. Luo Feng instantly determined that the sledgehammer was a mechanical treasure. Who? A black light swept towards Luo Feng's head. 3 soldiers attacked Luo Feng at the same time. There were actually 3 soldiers that chose him at the same time. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. Looks like admitting he was a recruit outside the Awakening Black building had indeed drawn some attention. As the saying goes, the strong are bold. It was because he had absolute power over these elite soldiers that Luo Feng dared to say those words. So, Luo Feng retreated explosively. Rumble! Endless snowflakes immediately appeared all around. It was one of the domain true god treasures he exchanged for earlier, pressuring and enveloping the 3 attacking soldiers. Luo Feng immediately saw the 3 attacking him, especially the most mysterious one. The 3 attacking him, the first was the beast, the second was the tall and sturdy soldier, the third was actually from the Eastern Army, Su Zhong. Su Zhong! Luo Feng roared. You and I are both from the Eastern Army. This is only the first level of the Awakening Black building, and you're already attacking me? You're a recruit. If I don't kill you, who will I kill? Su Zhong roared coldly. Rumble! Su Zhong's surroundings were surrounded by layers of purple light. The purple light shone and clashed with Luo Feng's endless snowflakes. Obviously, this Su Bell also had a domain-type treasure. Ha ha ha! Luo Feng couldn't stand such a soldier like Su Zhong. He roared and immediately moved, immediately becoming a blurry blade silhouette, easily dodging the tall and sturdy soldier and heading straight for Su Zhong. This simple sway and leap. This caused the expressions of the 3 soldiers surrounding Luo Feng to change. With this leap, not only did he easily dodge the tall and sturdy soldier, he even left the beast far behind. A weakling might not be able to tell, but they were all elite soldiers. With one look, they could tell how terrifying this Silver River technique was. Not good. Su Zhong roared softly. Hua! His entire body immediately glowed with layers of white light. Very quickly his entire body became a white flying beast. This white flying beast flapped its wings and immediately flew in a straight line, fleeing far away. Mechanical treasure Qinbird. Luo Feng's expression changed. Qinbird was a mechanical treasure of the Eastern Army, one that was extremely good at escaping. It might be bad at dodging, but it was extremely fast at accelerating in a straight line. To exchange for it, it would require a total of 600,000 merit points. It was even more valuable than Luo Feng's Golden Claw God, incomparably powerful at escaping. This Su Zhong just saw Luo Feng's simple technique and knew that he had hit a steel plate. In front of this close combat technique, Luo Feng could attack him 10 times, but he would probably only attack Luo Feng once, and he would even be blocked by Luo Feng. So when he saw that the situation wasn't good, he immediately took out the Qinbird and fled. At least you're fast enough. Luo Feng snorted coldly, turned his head and gave up on Su Zhong. He was clear that with this Qinbird mechanical treasure, killing Su Zhong would be too difficult. In the distance, the Qinbird spread its wings and looked at Luo Feng. Recruit? This is even stronger than the old soldiers. Su Zhong's expression was ugly. Is he lying to me? No, I know all the powerful soldiers of the Mang River Army. Unless it's a recruit. I don't know him, he shouldn't be lying, he's a recruit. A recruit is this powerful? This is troublesome. Even if I avoid the first level, there's still the second and third levels. Su Zhong was filled with regret. How could his eyes be so bad? With just one pick, he picked probably the strongest soldier in his bat. A whoosh, whoosh. Su Zhong fled quickly. The other 2 soldiers saw that the situation wasn't good and immediately began to flee one by one. The tall and sturdy soldier wielding the huge thunder hammer flapped his wings, and a pair of black wings actually appeared, howling as he flew. That beast soldier, on the other hand, was slowly fleeing. The slowness here was relative to Su Zhong and the tall and sturdy soldier. Who told you to run so slowly? Luo Feng roared and immediately rushed forward. Rumble! As Luo Feng broke through the air and chased, his entire body began to transform, directly becoming an incomparably barbaric human-shaped beast. His hands and feet all became huge golden claws. Mechanical treasure, Golden Claw God, burn. His divine power immediately ignited the first level. The burning divine power immediately pierced through the Golden Claw God's core and began to transform. The powerful Golden Claw God emitted an endless amount of energy. No. That ugly scaled winged beast looked back and was immediately shocked. Because the Golden Claw God's speed was too fast. How can he be so fast? The scaled winged beast was troubled. Why didn't he exchange his points for a chance to escape? The reason he dared to come here was because he had a mechanical treasure, however it was used to attack. In terms of attack, he wasn't afraid of the other soldiers at all. However, seeing Luo Feng's dodging, he knew that if he continued fighting with Luo Feng, he would definitely lose, hence he fled. However, he couldn't escape. Rumble! The incomparably swift and violent Luo Feng roared as he flew over. High up in the sky. His legs were like 2 large blades, howling as they slashed. Directly through his legs, he unleashed the light of water and fire blade technique. Even though he only unleashed the first level of annihilation, his technique level was obviously higher than his opponent's. His divine power burning was comparable to his opponent's, and his dodging was even more powerful. No. The scaled beast clashed with Luo Feng and immediately felt the pain. It couldn't escape even if it wanted to. When it attacked Luo Feng, it was easily dodged. Blocking would greatly reduce its power, however when Luo Feng attacked, it couldn't even block. Hua! The fierce golden claws were like blades, immediately grabbing the scaled beast's head and fiercely smashing it into the endless desert. Hua hua! His legs were like blades, brutally slashing at the scaled beast again and again. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1403. Luo Feng wore the golden claw god. His overall strength rose greatly, completely suppressing the scaled beast. The scaled beast's technique was level 6. As an origin law lord, to be able to create a level 6 technique was already not bad. He also knew a level 1 god energy burning technique. Normally he could explode with level 7 strength. The most important thing was its mechanic treasure was a claw. Its main strength was its attack. It could explode with 3 levels of attack power, meaning it could explode with level 10 attack power. However, in terms of defense and dodging, it didn't receive any boost. This made it unable to attack Luo Feng, while Luo Feng could easily attack it. And even if it did attack Luo Feng with Luo Feng's defense and the Golden Claw God's protection, he wouldn't suffer any damage. However, the moment the scaled beast was hit, it would immediately lose a large amount of its body. A one-sided battle. This caused the distant soldiers to feel shocked. At their level, this was the absolute limit of power that a Lord of the Laws could unleash. To break through even higher, every little bit was extremely difficult. Hence, when they truly clashed, the difference between them wouldn't be that obvious. However, that soldier he's too strong. Soldier He's movement technique is too terrifying. Although his mechanical treasures aren't very strong, they all have auxiliary enhancements. Once you get attacked by him, you'll be trampled on. His claw techniques are extremely powerful too. The Golden Claw God's attack isn't strong, however he relies on his claw techniques to make his attacks so strong. In the distance, the soldiers who were fighting all noticed this. They understood clearly that since the first floor of the Tower of Awakening Crow wanted them to kill each other, and the final objective was to ascend to the top, then in the following floors, they had no choice but to kill each other, or perhaps it was entirely possible that they would take the initiative to kill each other due to some benefit. Naturally, they had to take this chance to see the strength of the other soldiers. The other soldiers, however, immediately made their decision. Soldier we can't mess with him, stay as far away as we can. If I knew he was this strong, I wouldn't have fought him. The soldier Su Zhong was unwilling. I purposely befriended him, in the following levels of danger. With such a friend to help me, it'll be much better. Hua! Luo Feng's right golden claw slightly curled, slightly bent, especially those 5 claws that were curved like scimitars. That claw! It slashed across the back of the scaled beast, causing it to roll on the ground. Then came the crazy claw. The dazzling golden claw shadows were like surging waves, continuously slashing across the scaled beast's divine body, causing it to continuously weaken. At this moment, the scaled beast had lost a portion of its divine body and was only left with about 20% of its strength. Naturally, it was being ravaged. Spare my life. That scaled beast was anxious, begging for help. Luo Feng didn't care at all. I'm willing to offer up all my treasures. The scaled beast was extremely anxious. He really didn't want to die. After killing you, your treasures will be mine. Luo Feng communicated coldly. Also, since you've chosen to enter the Awakened Crows building, you have to be prepared to die. Right now, your strength has been greatly reduced. Even if I spared you on the first level, what about the second, third, and fourth levels? You think you can survive? And if I don't kill the other soldiers, I won't be able to enter the second floor. If I can't enter the second floor, I'll be annihilated by Wu Qi Lu. I don't want to die. Even if we leave you alive, you won't be able to kill the other soldiers. So, no matter what, you must die. The scaled beast understood. However, as it felt death approaching, it was unwilling and panicked. Naturally, it wanted to live a little longer. As for the following danger? Naturally, it would take it one step at a time. I still want your life to go to the second level. Luo Feng's voice was cold, without any fluctuations. Earlier, the scaled beast had taken the initiative to attack him. If he was weaker, he would have been killed. No! The scaled beast was furious and unwilling. However, no matter how furious it was, it could only watch as it grew weaker and weaker until it was annihilated. There was nothing else it could do. Because even if it self-destructed, the force of the explosion wouldn't reach level 10. Following the violent attack that was like a stormy sea, the scaled beast was annihilated. There are quite a few treasures left behind. Luo Feng waved his hand and collected the large amounts of treasures left behind in the desert. Amongst them was a black claw. This was also the mechanical treasure the scaled beast had before. Gene World, it has a complete ancient civilization. Especially in mechanical treasures, it's extremely proficient. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Even a universe lord, with his god energy burning techniques and mechanical treasures, can reach level 10. In the universe C, that's the strength of the ancestor. This was actually very normal. Mechanical treasures, at the origin law lord level, already had the power to fight beyond levels. Luo Feng collected the large amounts of treasures. He understood, the reason he killed the scaled beast earlier was because he had the absolute advantage in terms of movement and dodging. And this advantage of his, even against true gods, he had the absolute advantage. This point was already proven in the Nine Smoke Swamp. Killing an elite soldier is more profitable than killing 10 true gods. Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings. On the ice-cold desert, the cold wind continued to blow, and in the distant areas, there were battles and killings taking place. Those soldiers would occasionally glance over at Luo Feng. They're all quite far away from me. Luo Feng couldn't help but shake his head. He wanted to, if he had the chance, he would kill 1 or 2 more soldiers and get more treasures. After all, his family was huge. Whether it was the entire human race, his own Earth bloodline, or even the Luo family, they all needed treasures. However, from the looks of it now, these soldiers obviously treated him as a huge threat. The moment he made a move, they would flee. Forget it, I'll go to the next level, Luo Feng thought. According to the rules, normally only 10% of those who can leave the Awakening House alive. Only 50% of those on the first level die. As they kill, the victor gets the treasures too. In the future, when I kill the victor, I'll naturally get more. Luo Feng gazed at the 4 large battles. Without hesitation, he became a beam of light and flew towards the distant huge green pillar. Rumble! When Luo Feng flew towards the green pillar, it didn't stop him at all, allowing him to enter. Rumble! Under the guidance of the green pillar, Luo Feng immediately became a beam of gold light. His speed was incomparably fast, and he rushed into the sky, instantly disappearing from the top of the green pillar. He's entered the 2nd level. Phew, this terrifying punk, he's finally entered the 2nd level. That's good. The soldiers all let out a sigh of relief. If Luo Feng was always glaring at them, even if they were to kill each other, they would still feel uneasy. Because they could clearly feel, they weren't on the same level as Luo Feng. We are all the most elite of the special armies of the 4 armies. In theory, those stronger than us shouldn't be much stronger. How can this soldier he be so much stronger than us? Especially his close combat techniques, how can they be so terrifying? Even a true god wouldn't have such terrifying technique. The moment Luo Feng left, the remaining 8 quickly regained their focus and started fighting. However, they were different from Luo Feng. Luo Feng's killing speed was extremely fast. However, as the gap between them wasn't huge, their killing speed was much slower. Luo Feng only felt space and time warp. A blurry light flashed, and he appeared in a new place from the green pillar. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. This was a vast, dark red land. There were cracks all over the dark red land, and there was a scarlet liquid under the cracks. Streams of hot air shot up into the sky from the cracks, and the entire sky was covered in dark clouds. Thick, dark clouds covered most of the sky. 5 soldiers? Luo Feng glanced at the distance. In the distance there were 5 soldiers scattered. These 5 soldiers were very far from each other. Obviously they were on high alert. The previous batch? Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. The later batch, there are actually soldiers here too. Amongst the 5 soldiers in the distance, one of them looked like a youth. His features were handsome and he was dressed in dark red armor. He smiled as he spoke. The surroundings were dark red land, and he was dressed in dark red armor. His aura was incomparably harmonious with the world around him. What, you've been waiting for the next batch? Luo Feng asked. I've been waiting for the 5 to arrive together. The dark red armored youth smiled. His eyes flashed with a ferocious aura. Wu Qi's building told us that there would be 10 soldiers in a batch. Our batch only has 5 left after the first level. Naturally we'll have to wait for the next batch. Luo Feng nodded. Before him, there were indeed 3 batches that entered. 3 batches meant 30 soldiers. There should be at least 15 that survived. Unless there were special circumstances, there wouldn't be less than 15. Obviously, the first 3 batches did indeed have 15 survivors. This second level of the Wu Qi's building, how will it train us? Luo Feng asked. No idea. We don't know either. A few of the soldiers spoke. You're the first to arrive. Looks like you're the strongest in your batch. My luck is good, Luo Feng said casually. What about the other soldiers in your batch? The dark red armored youth asked Luo Feng. They'll arrive in a while. Luo Feng smiled. They would arrive in a while. However, this while was too long. After about half an hour, only then did the soldiers arrive. The other 4 arrived at about the same time. So, the moment the bell appeared, the chinchilla immediately flapped its wings and dodged far away. After which, it looked around cautiously, its gaze locked onto the distant Luo Feng. These 4 soldiers all stayed far away from Luo Feng. And when the dark red armored youth and the other 4 soldiers saw this, as long as they weren't idiots, they would naturally be able to tell that the other 4 soldiers in the new batch were extremely cautious and fearful of the first soldier that arrived. He actually made so many elite soldiers fear him. We have to be careful of him. The 5 soldiers from the previous batch were all shocked within. At this time, rumble, 10 beams of light descended from the sky and immediately enveloped the 10 soldiers. Pitiful. Even the recommendation votes were surpassed. Both the monthly and recommendation votes were second. The monthly votes were only obtained through spending. However, the recommendation votes were given to everyone every day. Please support me, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1404. 10 beams of light filled the skies and were extremely fast. Luo Feng and the others didn't even have time to dodge before they were completely enveloped. This is the second level of the Wu Qi building. You will all be teleported to a small world and be attacked. What you need to do is survive and endure all the attacks in the world. You 2 batches of soldiers, the first batch has rested for a long time and their bodies have recovered quite a bit. The second batch of soldiers quickly recover. The 2 batches of soldiers will be transported one after the other. Those who hide within the battleships will be destroyed. A majestic voice resounded within the minds of Luo Feng and the others. Following closely, the space of the crimson-armored young man and the other 4 soldiers instantly trembled, and the 5 soldiers were instantly teleported to a distant place in this dark red scorching land. At a glance, the 5 soldiers were separated, and each soldier had fallen into a small world that was over 100 million kilometers in size. Hurry and recover. Quickly! Try your best to recover. Luo Feng and the others watched calmly from the side. Su Zhong and the others immediately used their treasures to quickly recover their bodies. Treasures that could recover one's divine body also needed time to take effect. Like before when they had just finished killing in the first level and were immediately teleported here, even if they wanted to stay there, they couldn't do so. Luckily Wu Qi Building's plan was perfect. He gave them time to use the treasures within their bodies to gradually recover. The red-armored youth surveyed his surroundings. This was a small world with a diameter of over 100 million kilometer rumble. In the sky appeared a huge ancient engraving picture with a diameter of over 100 million kilometer. Many colorful engravings merged together to form this ancient engraving picture. It obviously enveloped the entire land below. Following which, with a rumble, the ancient engraving picture suddenly shot beams of light downwards. Pung! 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 A series of beams of light shot downwards and pierced through. The crimson-armored young man wielded a silver scimitar. With a clang, he blocked a beam of light that was aimed at him. The impact of the light instantly sent the crimson-armored young man flying backward, tumbling in the air. Because that ancient engraving picture covered the land and skies with countless beams of light. Hence, as he flew backwards, there were beams of light that shot at him. Too strong. Any ray of light attack is comparable to the attack of a real god. We have to rely on mechanical treasures. The crimson-armored youth was so frightened that rings began to appear on his legs. The silver patterns wrapped around his legs and quickly spread to his entire body. Immediately, the crimson-armored youth's speed increased, and he blocked the incoming beams of light so that he wouldn't be sent flying. 5 small worlds, 5 soldiers. Every soldier was being ravaged by the small world. It doesn't look too dangerous. It's much better than the first floor. The first floor is fratricide, and at least half of them will die. This level is a battle against a small world. I reckon that many will survive. Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers watched. Luo Feng didn't make a sound. The other soldiers were quietly discussing, occasionally glancing at Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the distant 5 small worlds. Indeed, the 5 small worlds all had ancient mysterious pattern diagrams bombarding the ground below, but the degree of threat they posed was only comparable to that of an ordinary true god. If he used a mechanical-type treasure, the 5 soldiers would be able to withstand it. Don't tell me the first level had too many deaths, and the second level is easier? Luo Feng thought. Very quickly, Luo Feng knew he was wrong. Just when the 5 sergeants in the 5 small worlds had relaxed quite a bit, even though it's a little troublesome, it shouldn't be hard to get through. As the 5 soldiers were resisting, suddenly the ground began to tremble. Rumble, the ground of the 5 small worlds were trembling. The ground that was originally covered in large amounts of cracks, especially the burning red liquid beneath the cracks, began to gush out, gushing straight to the surface. This hot liquid caused the 5 soldiers to fly up, not daring to land. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the scarlet, scorching liquid quickly gathered together, constantly converging. After a while, they gathered into a towering crimson giant, following which the red giant's body began to solidify. From the liquid giant before, it became a dark red stone giant. And the surface of the stone giant's body still had threads of hot liquid flowing about. Howl, the 5 dark red stone giants raised their heads and roared at the same time. Scarlet liquid continued to gush out of the cracks on the ground, connecting the bodies of the dark red stone giant. Rumble, the skies of the 5 small worlds were constantly bombarding downwards. Many beams of light struck the dark red stone giant's body, only causing a portion of the stone giant's body to fall off. However, those that fell quickly became red liquid and condensed back into the giant's body, completely unharmed. Along with the sky-shaking roars, the 5 dark red stone giants simultaneously rushed at the 5 soldiers. These dark red stone giants, either stomping with their huge feet or swinging with their stone fists, just from the first clash, the 5 soldiers were all sent flying. Not good. Too vicious. This time they're in trouble. In the distance, Luo Feng and the other 4 who were resting and recovering their divine bodies were all shocked. With one look, they could tell that the 5 soldiers in their respective worlds were facing a dangerous situation. Just from the first clash, they could tell, The dark red stone giants definitely had the strength of a true god. Even though these stone giants didn't have armor or anything like that, with the endless red liquid replenishing them, plus they could recover even if they were injured, they were definitely undying. If it was just the stone giants, it would be fine. One had to know that the ancient engravings' light covered the skies and land. Before, when they were alone, they could still try their best to dodge. Occasionally, when they couldn't dodge, they would try to block a few times. However, now that they were constantly being attacked by the dark red stone giants, the 5 soldiers couldn't even try their best to dodge the light, causing them to be bombarded at every moment. Bang! 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 They were continuously bombarded by the light. The 5 soldiers were in a sorry state. If they tried their best to dodge the light, they would easily be blasted away by the stone giant. Endless light descended. The stone giants were roaring. The 5 soldiers were in a sorry state. Their god energy was being madly consumed. The 5 soldiers who were safe and could watch from the side, their expressions were all serious. The previous batch of 5 soldiers were in a sorry state in the small worlds, with danger lurking everywhere. It wasn't that they were weak, it was just that the small worlds were indeed very dangerous. What do we do? I'm afraid we'll be facing similar dangers. Countless lights descended from the sky, and we still have to deal with the stone giants. How do we fight? If we dodge the lights, we won't be able to block the stone giant. If we block the stone giants, we'll be bombarded by the lights. If this goes on, our god energy will be depleted too quickly, we won't be able to last till the end. The soldiers were all panicking. The other 4 were panicking. Luo Feng was still considered calm, only his expression was serious. Just this bit of danger doesn't mean much to me. However, the light from the ancient engravings and the appearance of the stone giants, after these 2 dangers, will there be a 3rd danger? Or even the 4th danger? The ancient engravings and the stone giants, Luo Feng didn't care about these 2 dangers. He was only afraid of more dangers appearing one by one. No matter how strong Luo Feng was, he would still be crushed. Of the elite soldiers that enter the Awakened Crow building, only 1 out of 10 will survive. Since one can survive, then I can too. Luo Feng nodded, continuing to watch intently. The Awakened Crow building was the tallest structure in the Godly King Valley. Not far from the Awakened Crow building, there was a 3-story silver-gray ancient palace. This palace had a group of true god guards. This was also the highest authority in the Godly King Valley. The 3rd level of the silver-gray palace. In the incomparably vast hall there were 4 incomparably huge thrones. On the leftmost throne was a huge mass of black fog. The black fog fluctuated, and the entire black fog covered most of the huge throne. One could only faintly see the legs of the throne. The black fog was constantly emitting an evil aura. The other 3 thrones were empty. Not a single silhouette. A light screen appeared in mid-air in the middle of the palace. On it was the scene of the 2nd level of the Awakened Crow building. The 5 soldiers were in 5 different small worlds. They were in a sorry state. Trash! A sigh resounded from within the black mist. Truly trash, this batch of soldiers is still trash. If this goes on, I really don't know when the absolute being that the Godly King is looking for will appear. It was one of the 4 great commanders of the Godly King Valley. Although he was only a void real god, he had been personally conferred the title by His Majesty the King God and became a titled expert. Although it was also a void real god like the Master of the Northern Pure Sea, it could easily annihilate the Master of the Northern Pure Sea. Too weak. So weak on the 2nd level of the Awakened Crow building. Generations of elite soldiers have performed better than them, but none of them succeeded. As for them, there is no hope. The spreading black mist sighed. The Gene world was the world of the Godly King, and the Godly King Valley was where the Godly King lived. Actually, there was no danger at all, there was no need to arrange any guards. But it was arranged here, because of the trust the Godly King had in it. The task of guarding here was fake. The real task was to find the absolute being that could reach the 9th level of the awakened crow building. It's been too long. The only task His Majesty has given us. We haven't done it yet. If anyone can reach the top of the awakened crow building, even if I have to die right now, I will be willing. The old voice in the black mist was filled with guilt towards the godly king. Is the competition in the gene world not enough? Does it have to be even more cruel? The old voice in the black mist murmured. On the light screen in the middle of the palace, the other 5 soldiers were also teleported to their own small world. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1405. Within the vast world of the 2nd level of the awakened crow building, the dark red ground emitted waves of heat that rushed into the sky. Even the neutron stars of the cosmic sea would be instantly burnt to nothing if they were here. 5 regions, 5 small worlds. Howl, 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 howl. The 5 dark red rock giants were incomparably tyrannical. They charged and charged about, beating the 5 soldiers into a sorry state. In the distance, Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers watched quietly. The other 4 soldiers' eyes were filled with worry. The rock giants can't be killed at all. We have to stall for time. The other 4 soldiers were thinking of a way to deal with them. They had just experienced the 1st level's slaughter. They didn't rest as long as the first 5 soldiers. Hence they rested for a while, and could see the dangers of the 2nd level earlier. This was also a form of compensation. After the first batch of 5 soldiers fought hard for about half an hour. Bang! 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 Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers were swiftly transported through the space around them. Luo Feng felt the space around him warp, almost like entering a wormhole. By the time the space around him stabilized, he had already entered a small world. The teleportation only gives us such a short time to rest. However, it also lets us know the danger beforehand. It's still fair. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. A huge, ancient engraving appeared in the dark clouds above. The engraving was incomparably resplendent and mysterious. It enveloped this small world. Pung, 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 pung. The ancient engraving was like a huge battleship with countless gun barrels. It madly shot countless beams of light downwards. Every beam of light was comparable to a true god's attack. Luckily, this was only a training test. Hence the beams of light were scattered across the entire region. If they were gathered together, the combined attack of 1 trillion beams of light would be something even an eternal true god wouldn't dare take head on. One could see, the awakened crow building left behind by the god emperor was extraordinary. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. The stone-like blade on his back, the blood shadow blade, was unsheathed. Dang! The blood shadow blade blocked the attack of a beam of light. Luo Feng couldn't help but retreat 6 steps, leaving 6 footprints on the ground. After a while, I blocked 9 streams of light in a row. They are different colors, but their power is the same. Luo Feng had an accurate judgment within, after which he looked at the ancient engravings in the sky, laughing, after which he gazed down at the land. Rock giant, hurry and appear. Otherwise, I would have to expend a lot of divine power to deal with this ancient pattern diagram. Golden Claw God. Luo Feng's thoughts move. Boom. Luo Feng's body immediately changed. As a mechanical treasure, the Golden Claw God's color could change at will. Luo Feng immediately became a black humanoid monster, burning his god energy to activate the Golden Claw God. Immediately, Luo Feng's speed, defense, resistance and attack all rose by 2 levels. Luo Feng didn't even want to unleash annihilation. The moment he did, it would consume too much god energy. In order to deal with this level of crisis, his current strength was more than enough. Rumble, the ground shook. Luo Feng immediately rose into the air and looked down. In the depths of the huge fissures on the ground, the red-hot liquid was constantly gushing out. A large amount of the red-hot liquid quickly gathered and condensed into a huge liquid monster. Following that, the red-hot liquid quickly condensed into a dark red stone giant. And the red liquid from the ground continued to gush out, constantly replenishing the rock giant. Howl! The dark red rock giant roared and rushed straight at Luo Feng. Good! Luo Feng revealed a smile. Stomping fiercely, he left a huge claw mark on the ground. The golden claw god Luo Feng rushed straight at the dark red rock giant. In terms of size, the golden claw god Luo Feng maintained a height of 100,000 kilometers. This was his strongest form, and the dark red rock giant was close to 200,000 kilometers. The golden claw god Luo Feng could only reach the waist of the rock giant. Rumble! The dark red rock giant roared, following which a mountain-like huge fist appeared before the golden claw god Luo Feng in an instant. Shwa! Luo Feng's silhouette became blurry, almost as though he was about to dodge. The dark red rock giant's fist followed closely, chasing after Luo Feng. This fist seemed to cover the skies and land, not letting Luo Feng escape. His Majesty the God Emperor built the Awakened Crow building. Even a random puppet formed from energy has such exquisite fist techniques. Exclaiming within, the golden claw god Luo Feng was like a huge blade silhouette, instantly changing directions 3 times. Changing directions 3 times, it seemed very little. However, when one's movement reached the pinnacle, it wasn't the more the better, it was just changing directions once to cause the opponent's attack to miss. That was powerful. When Luo Feng was in the 9-smoke swamp, he easily dodged a true god's attack. However, against this dark red rock giant, he had to change directions 3 times before dodging the punch. Hua! While dodging, the golden claw god Luo Feng's claws purposely clashed with the rock giant's arm, causing the rock giant to waver. The golden claw god Luo Feng took the chance to hide beside the rock giant. Rumble! The ancient engravings above rained down countless beams of light, many of them hitting the rock giant, however none of them hit Luo Feng. Howl! The rock giant turned to attack Luo Feng. Once I get close to you, be at ease and be my shield. The golden claw god Luo Feng was like a ghost, every movement was like a straight line, able to change directions multiple times as fast as lightning, causing the dark red rock giant to go round and round. The dark red rock giant roared, either fiercely turning or punching in all directions. Even his fists became red liquid and enveloped Luo Feng. Anyway, he had many methods. However, the golden claw god Luo Feng continued to tangle with the rock titan, circling around it, using it as a shield. None of the beams that descended from above hit the golden claw god Luo Feng. The golden claw god Luo Feng would rather occasionally exchange blows with the rock giant than get hit by the beams. To me, the rock giant is not only not a problem, it's actually a huge help. With it here, it's like a huge shield. Using this shield, I can easily dodge all the beams of light. Luo Feng displayed his terrifying movement, dodging when he could, borrowing strength when he could, only blocking when he couldn't. Luo Feng definitely wouldn't clash head-on with the rock giant. Because Luo Feng understood, even if he did, the rock giant's injuries would swiftly heal, it was completely undying, clashing head-on would only consume his god energy faster. And right now, he wasn't using annihilation, dodging was his main focus, even the beams of light that rained down from above had a shield, the rock giant. Luo Feng's god energy consumption was extremely slow. God King Valley, 3rd level of the Silver Gray Palace beside the Awakened Crow building. Within the palace, the floating screen displayed the battle scenes of the 10 small worlds. The scenes of the 10 soldiers were all very clear. Of the 4 thrones in the palace, the leftmost throne was shrouded in a huge black mist. It suddenly began to tremble. Movement! A voice resounded from within the mist. Hua! Originally, there were 10 miniature world scenes on the light screen, but in an instant, the other 9 miniature world scenes instantly shrank, while one miniature world scene rapidly expanded, occupying 90% of the entire screen. Within that scene, the one battling the dark red rock giant was Luo Feng. This movement, the Black Mist leader seemed to be completely shocked. As one of the 4 leaders of the God King Valley, it had been selected by the Awakened Crow building over the generations. It had seen countless elite soldiers. But this was the first person to display such a terrifying movement technique since it was discovered. Even though it was only his movement that was heavenly, it didn't mean his other aspects were heavenly as well. However, to be able to reach such a level of movement, it meant that even if this soldier was weaker in other aspects, he still far surpassed many elite soldiers. Such a soldier, why didn't the 4 generals tell me about him? Such a soldier is definitely the most important seed His Majesty needs. The name list he gave me actually didn't include this soldier. The Black Mist leader let out furious roars. His goal in the God King Valley for countless years was to find the absolute warrior His Majesty needed. Soldier Inhe? Mang River Army? Oh, so he just joined the army. No wonder the 4 generals didn't tell me. He just joined the army and he's already doing a titled mission. Looks like he has absolute confidence. Inhe? The Black Mist leader's voice was filled with joy. You 3 punks, stop sleeping, come quickly, come quickly! His voice rumbled, piercing through the entire Silver Palace and entering deep into the ground. There, the other 3 leaders were in deep sleep. The God King Valley leaders didn't have anything else to do, hence the 4 of them. Each had a leader in charge of the God King Valley, and also the entire God King world. Only when there were special matters would they summon the other 3. Rumble, rumble, rumble. 3 powerful energies rose up, causing the true God guards within the God King Valley to be shocked. On the 3rd floor of the Silver-Gray Palace, there were 4 thrones. Aside from the one on the left that was shrouded in black mist, a beautiful woman dressed in silver armor appeared on the 2nd throne from the left. Her eyes seemed to be the source of all light. When she looked at them, it was as if they were bathed in the warmest light, and they could not help but fall into a world of light. Beside her sat a tall and burly blood-red armored commander. This blood-red armored commander wore a helmet on his head, on which there were 9 silver horns that looked like scimitars, emitting an endless domineering aura. On the far right was a pitch-black scaled exotic beast. This scaled exotic beast had 2 faces, and each face only had a single eye. At this moment, one of its eyes was open, but the other eye behind its head was closed. The only eye that was open was pitch black, as though it could devour everything. It emitted an endless and intense aura of slaughter. You 3, look at the soldier riding the golden claw god. A voice came from the black mist. This was the 2nd watch of the day. There was still the 3rd watch. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1406. The other 3 commanders, who had just woken up from their long slumber, looked at the floating screen of light. They were also filled with anticipation. After all, when His Majesty the God King left, he had given them an order to find a peerless figure who could ascend to the top of the Awakening Crows building. They had waited far too long. This soldier. He's riding on a golden claw god. Looking at its speed, this soldier probably hasn't used any god energy burning technique. The 3 leaders made their judgments and inspected Luo Feng on the screen. As for the other 9 soldiers, they just glanced at them and dismissed them. In their long years on duty, they had seen countless elite soldiers. Without a certain standard, they naturally wouldn't be attracted. Watching carefully, time passed second by second. The 3 leaders were all silent. What a profound technique! One of the 4 commanders, the muscular commander dressed in blood-red armor, sighed in amazement. So many exquisite movements. Truly, he's just a master of the laws, and yet he was able to create a movement technique on this level. And he's so skilled at it. He's just toying with the rock giant. What he didn't know was that Luo Feng, in order to train his movements, had fought against many strong warriors in the training space, even the third-generation ancestor, who had the same level of divine energy foundation, many times. After being tempered under that kind of pressure, it was naturally very easy to fight against the stupid rock giant. Even the eternal true gods of the Gene world didn't have the right to have the third-generation ancestor as their sparring partner. Even for me, I'm a little touched, the tall and sturdy leader exclaimed. You're an eternal true god. Even an eternal true god like you is touched. The other three leaders said. Back then, when His Majesty the Divine King left, the four great commanders were all void real gods who had been conferred titles. And after so many years, one of them broke through to become an eternal true god. However, according to the godly king's orders, the four leaders had their duties and couldn't leave the Gene world. Just like the four generals, even though they were eternal true gods, they too couldn't leave the Gene world. After the godly king left, a few eternal true gods were born. They left the Gene world one by one and never returned. The four leaders were all impressed by Luo Feng's technique. If a void true god used it, they wouldn't care at all. But this was a law master. The comprehension foundation of a master of laws and a void real god was as different as heaven and earth. They had never seen a master of laws being able to achieve such a feat. At the very least, he is the one with the strongest movement technique we have ever seen since we started guarding the Valley of the God Kings. His movement technique is the strongest. The others aren't that bad either. The four commanders spoke one after another. The burly commander said expectantly, Perhaps, he has hope of ascending the Tower of Awakening Crow. Immediately, the other three commanders quietened down. The entire hall was enveloped in an atmosphere of impending storm. All of them stared at the screen, watching. Fulfilling His Majesty the Divine King's expectations was more important than making a breakthrough to become an eternal real god or even their lives. On the second floor of the Wu Qi Tower, on the vast dark red land, within the 10 small world, the first 5 sergeants looked helter-skelter as they had consumed a lot of energy. Although the last 5 soldiers were also in a sorry state, they had been fighting for a short time, so they were in a much better state. Especially Luo Feng. He was the most relaxed, from the time he was transported to the small world till now. His god body hadn't been exhausted at all. After all, he hadn't even unleashed the first level of annihilation. He was completely relying on the Golden Claw God to raise his strength by 2 levels, which was enough for him to battle with a true god. The first 5 sergeants have consumed a lot of energy. Even though they are all still alive, if this goes on, it won't be long before they start falling. The Golden Claw God Luo Feng swept his gaze across the distant 9 small worlds. Probably only he, in such a tense situation, dared to pay attention to his surroundings. Ao. 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 5 furious howls suddenly resounded. It was the world of the first 5 sergeants. The 5 dark red stone giants were all howling. Their howls were mournful and crazy. The howls were completely different from the stone giants' howls from before. Not only were the sounds peculiar, they even had soul attack. Even the sergeants from the other small worlds felt their hearts tremble. Luo Feng and the other 5 couldn't help but look into the distance. Following the howls, the first 5 sergeants were filled with fear and unease, feeling danger approaching. Hua! 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 Out of the blue, not far from the crevices in the ground around the stone giants, a huge stone hand suddenly surged out. That stone hand was surrounded by a boiling hot liquid. A total of 4 huge stone hands, every one of them was over 1,000,000 km wide, and the ones that extended out had thick long arms. Without any warning, they suddenly appeared and grabbed at the elite sergeant. Amongst the first 5 sergeants, an elite sergeant with a tattoo on his face tried to dodge, however half of his body was grabbed by the stone hand. The stone hand gripped the soldier tightly. The ancient engravings in mid-air suddenly began to descend. As it descended, the ancient engravings poured down with large amounts of light, giving the sergeants even less time to dodge. How! The dark red stone giant roared too, punching the sergeants. Pung! That sergeant was in incomparable pain. Pung! 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 The stone hand grabbed and the stone giant madly smashed, draining the sergeant's god energy. Open, open, open! That sergeant struggled with great difficulty, even using his god energy to control his hammer. Finally, before the stone giant punched again, he managed to create a gap in the stone hand, allowing him to escape. However, just from being grabbed for a short while, his god body had already suffered great damage. Within the crevices in the ground, without any warning, a huge stone hand would appear. In an instant, the first 5 sergeants were all on the verge of collapse. If before they were just in a sorry state, then now they were truly in a life-and-death crisis. One-sided. Under the stone hand, dark red stone giant and the ancient engravings constantly descending, their reaction time decreased. Under the 3 heavy attacks, the 5 elite sergeants with mechanical treasures were all on the verge of collapse. Not good. We're in big trouble. The first 5 of them met it first. It won't be long before we too meet this danger. The other 4 soldiers in Luo Feng's group were all panicking. The golden claw god Luo Feng pondered. Obviously, at the same time, there are only 4 stone hands appearing, and they're all around the dark red stone giant. And the engravings above are descending too. Luo Feng realized the situation was very dangerous. The 4 stone hands themselves weren't much of a threat. However, the moment they were grabbed and bound, they would be ravaged by the stone giant. Fortunately, there were only 4 of them. What do I do? Without any warning, the 4 stone hands appeared without any warning. They all appeared so suddenly. How do I deal with them? Luo Feng was anxious. If the ancient engravings hadn't descended, then he could have flown higher, allowing the stone hands to emerge from the ground, giving him enough time to react and dodge. However, the ancient engravings in the sky were descending, the distance was shrinking, the time to dodge the light was getting shorter and shorter, to fly higher again, that was even more taxing. Hopeless situation. Luo Feng shook his head. There will definitely be sergeants falling. It was indeed hopeless. As the ancient engravings continued to descend, the situation of the 5 sergeants ahead was getting more and more difficult. Countless lights covered the sky and land, madly rushing downwards. The engravings continued to descend, causing the lights to last longer and shorter, causing the sergeants to be hit more and more. Every one of these lights was comparable to a true god's attack. Huge hands, stone giant, engravings. The space was constantly being squeezed. Dodging the stone hands was getting harder and harder. The 5 sergeants ahead were burning their god energy, howling, using all their strength to unleash their techniques that they were proud of. Either attack or flee, thinking of all sorts of ways to make themselves last longer. No. A flying 12-winged exotic beast was directly grabbed by a stone hand that suddenly emerged. Immediately after, the dark red stone giant followed up and smashed the 12-winged exotic beast with its 2 big fists again and again. Accompanied by a wail, the 12-winged exotic beast directly dissipated and turned into nothingness, leaving only some armor and treasures behind. The dark red stone giant immediately raised his head and roared, extremely excited. Following closely, the stone giant, the stone hand, everything became a red liquid, flowing into the crevice in the ground. Even the armor of the beast's soldier that had fallen earlier was swept into the crevice. And that small world too immediately dissipated. The entire second level, only 9 small worlds were left. The other 4 soldiers from the first batch were struggling in pain. It's still not over? The second level's training should be over by now. My strength has dropped by more than half. If it doesn't end soon, I won't be able to hold on. The other 4 sergeants were extremely anxious. To the overlords, losing a part of their god body, their strength would drop drastically. Hence, during battle, at the start of their peak, their god energy consumption was the slowest. However, towards the end, the weaker they got, the faster their god energy consumption. The more they used, the weaker they got, entering a vicious cycle. Hence, they were all anxious. Luo Feng's group of 5 soldiers were also feeling uneasy. We have to conserve our god energy. Otherwise, we won't survive past the second level. Just as they were feeling uneasy, that familiar voice, Ao, 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 Ao. 5 mad and shrill sounds resounded. These sounds pierced straight into their souls, causing the sergeants to tremble. How can they be so fast? We started much later than them. Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers in his group were getting anxious. They were sent to the small world half an hour later than the previous batch. However, the nightmare descended. They were only 10 minutes later than the previous batch. Rumble, Luo Feng soared into the sky, simultaneously looking up. The ancient engravings were rumbling and descending. The dark red stone giant too flew up. He was naturally following Luo Feng, wanting to kill him. Hua, 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 hua. 4 large stone hands, just the palm width alone was over 1,000,000 km. The arms were even longer, directly extending and grabbing at Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng had flown high into the sky earlier. With a buffer, with his movement, he could easily dodge the hands. In the ancient hall, the 4 commanders of the Divine King Valley, 1 eternal real god and 3 void real gods, who had been conferred titles, were watching the light screen with great anticipation. They were watching Luo Feng's performance in the second level of the Wuqi building. 3 chapters completed. Preview, tomorrow 5 chapters. Seeking monthly votes, recommendation votes to motivate. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation.